Oh, fuck.
I always yawn a bunch when we start recording.
Oh, I don't need these on anymore. All right, Beb. Are you ready to talk about movies
Always.
and other random things?
Always.
Well, welcome to the Polishing Podcast. You're in the right place.
I don't know. I don't know why I was so surprised.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't.
So we're back. Am I in? Oh no, I'm not even
Nope.
in frame.
I was kind of wondering if you were just choosing to have this episode just be me on the wall, which is fine.
Oh,
It's an artistic choice.
I cracked my
Yours.
back.
Good for you.
It was deserved. Needed? I don't know.
Either one, I feel like.
Yeah. No.
You're a hero.
You know what heroes do? I'm trying to think of what Thor said in Thor Ragnarok. He didn't. He's just like, that's what heroes do.
That's what heroes do.
Apparently.
That's some really circular logic there.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this thing because that's what heroes do. Are you sure, Thor?
Yeah. Yeah, he is. He's real sure about
He's
that.
pretty sure, yeah.
But yeah, welcome back to the Polishing Podcast. We got some prepared things because sometimes just going off willy-nilly from the jump is not great. Makes for some not great. That's it.
That makes for some not great.
Yeah.
There's an episode of New Girl where Jess is trying to intimidate a possible roommate because Nick is saying he's going to move out. So they're interviewing this dude.
With the box that growls.
With the box that growls. It's that guy. I forget his name. The guy who had to fire himself. Neil, I think is his name.
The guy who plays the cop from Reno 911
Yes.
who's new boot goofing.
Yep, that guy. And she's like, I hope you like feminist rants because that's kind of my thing. And while they're playing it as a joke in New Girl,
Yeah.
when we go off the cuff, I feel like that's what happens. Is I take at least 10 minutes of time to like have a small seminar in feminism on your
Maybe.
podcast.
I don't remember.
Our podcast. Thank you for sharing ownership of this creation that is yours mostly. Listen, I'm just giving credit where credit is due. Think of me as Pepper Potts. I get 12% of the credit.
Do not want to think about goop.
You don't? Maybe one day we should watch that like weird Netflix
Nah.
group show. It
Nah.
looks really weird.
I don't want to legitimize any part of that.
Legitimize.
Legitimize.
Legitimize. Hey, I respect that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we have prepared content
Yeah.
despite.
We were gonna
What
do
I
something. We were gonna use a software that's just come out. It's called RTX Voice. I've been using it while I stream.
It's fancy.
I know of one stream where you're in the background playing The Witcher through the speakers of the TV, and it does not pick up anything at all.
That's incredible.
We were gonna use that. So, the office is small.
It's not a large.
The spot that we are in, there's maybe a foot, 2 feet, 2
2
feet
feet.
behind me, and then to the door is what, 6 feet?
Something like that.
So this entire room is probably like 12 feet.
Right.
We're taking up.
The fact that it's considered a bedroom, like if you could imagine like a bed,
I can imagine
and
a child
dresser,
being in
yeah,
here.
like it could only be for a child.
Yeah.
Like an adult could not have a bedroom in here.
No.
Is really the sense that I get from it.
Unless you're a college kid, you still have your twin. Like
That's
twin
fair.
bed, not your twin.
I'm in college, so I still have my twin.
Yeah.
What is that? That's ominous. What happens to your twin after college? What happens to the twin, Nico?
I don't know. Don't call me that. I'm Beb.
Beb. You're Nico on the podcast.
It's weird. But no, I could see like 4 college kids living in here. Because I could totally see 3 twin beds fitting in
That's
that
true.
room.
Like a bunk situation and then another bed.
That, or just like you put one on the wall, one on the wall, one on the near the radiator.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, college kids make shit weird.
Yeah, that's true.
Also,
one of my students was living last term in the fall.
and then whoever like found the apartment gets this room by
Right?
themselves. It's like, I may have the smaller room, but I get to bang people.
Yeah.
Without feeling guilty.
Other people sleeping in the bedroom never stopped a college kid from banging people.
Well,
so.
yeah, but without feeling weird about
Oh, okay. I mean, they'll feel weird about it regardless. They're college kids. They're all
it.
weird.
There's a
about
lock on the door at least.
it. That's fair. Yeah, one of my
Hey,
students.
if my music starts to get louder, don't
don't.
matter about it.
I had a really weird experience with a college roommate. and music and trying to cover up the sound of me banging. And it is a story that I will only tell if you're comfortable with me telling that kind of story.
Are you asking me or?
Yes, you.
Oh. Why would I care?
It's really wild. It's one of the better.
Just don't get graphic with it.
Oh no, I have no intention of getting graphic with it because in a lot of ways I couldn't get graphic because I had this roommate who was just absolutely unhinged.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get into that maybe.
Because
there's a lot. We actually have things.
That's incredible. So, yeah, one of my students was living in like a room that's supposed to be just for 2 students.
Yeah.
But with like 4 people total in the spring.
Yeah.
This was like a dorm room. Like the university was like, and just like put 4 people in there.
Did it lower the cost of the dorm? Well, that sucks.
Yeah.
You could have just got an apartment and put 4 people in.
That's literally what I told her was like.
The amount of people that want to live on campus when you can find cheaper housing off campus is
They're
wild.
like, well, I don't want to pay through the summer. I'm like, then don't get a 12-month lease. Get a 9-month lease.
Yeah.
Or, counterpoint, get a 12-month lease.
Yeah.
Have a summer job and stay here where your parents aren't lording over you and suddenly all the freedom you've had for the last 9 months is gone.
Yeah. Either or.
Trust me, it's better. I mean, this is coming from someone who did not enjoy going home in the summer for college and tried to limit my exposure to family more generally. But so I'm sure there are people out there who actually like spending time with their families who are like, but I want to spend summer at home and they actually want to see people from high school. I was like, kill it with fire. So I was happy to not live with my parents. I think I only did it one summer, like my first summer after college. And I was like, I just slept really late and worked at a grocery store and then roamed around.
Yeah.
So I like never saw them.
Oh, okay. Did you work at the Publix?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I worked at a Publix.
I didn't know you worked there in the college too.
Yeah. Well, no, it was just that one summer.
Oh, I thought you worked there when you were in high school.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Just like the first summer after my first year of college.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It was really weird. It was a weird time. I had this manager who like, I think really thought that we connected when I interviewed, and I was like, girl, I'm just trying to get a job.
Like,
y'all, yeah, like she wanted to mentor me.
Oh.
I'm like, ma'am, you're a manager at Publix. I'm going to get a college degree. And there's nothing wrong with either position. It just, you seem to want to mentor me, but I'm trying to get educated so that I will not be in your kind of job position. It was just very weird.
Yeah.
It was like a very strange. So then if I ever did anything that wasn't perfect, she was like, I'm very disappointed in you. She's like a weird Karen type, but she had like no kids. I don't know. She's weird. She was weird. She treated me like if she'd had a daughter, I would have been it. And I was like, we're not connected like that. You're my manager. I don't like you. We're not friends. I don't want to learn from you. I would like to get my paycheck and leave, please.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, well.
That was a really weird summer job. Wish I had just stayed at college.
Yeah. Seems like it.
Yeah.
What? No. But, so we were going to use the thing.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't. It wasn't working. For whatever reason, even though the audio, I think it's a DAC. I don't know. I can't remember what it's actually called. The thing I plug our XLR mics into, which gives us this option, doesn't our like RTX voice wasn't able to accept both sources, I guess.
At the same time.
Well, but the weird thing is I'm not changing anything, because when you hear the mix, it's all mixed together. Like it's not, if I yell, you don't hear me twice.
Right.
You know, like I don't get picked up by both microphones. It just, so I don't know. There's probably a way I can use it so that way we can have the fan on and stuff. Yeah. Which this room the reason we were talking about the side of the room and how we got sidetracked, it gets a little warm with the lights on. Yeah, because there's 4 lights on, 2 right at us.
So that we look beautiful.
Yeah. So that way we're actually lit well.
Lit
dag. I said dag. I don't know why.
Yeah, I wanted an explanation, and then I decided I didn't want an explanation because
no, that was just a fuck up.
I need you all to know that sometimes Nico says things that are very, very weird.
So yeah, sometimes my brain tries to play catch up with my mouth, and I'll say shit out of order. But sometimes I don't even know how I get to what I say.
Or you'll just say the exact wrong thing, like the scapula thing.
Oh, Well, yeah, that was funny. But
Yeah. He was trying to say speculum.
yeah. I said
And
scapula.
instead he said scapula.
It's better than spatula.
I think spatula would have been better. Because at least
Didn't lead to I don't need any more bones, dog.
that's
Spatula
true.
didn't.
We were talking about a pap smear.
Yeah.
And he said scapula. And I was like, skirt, what? And then he was like, he knew as he said it that it wasn't what it was supposed to be. So you were like, right, like scapula. And I was
No.
like, no.
I don't think I even knew. Like, I was like, is it a scapula? Like, I don't
But then
know.
I imagined someone trying to give you a pap smear with a scapula.
Scapula. A doctor.
Instead of-
Scapula.
And I was like, I don't need any more bones, doc.
He's trying to offload bones that he has.
I just got a lot of extra bones, man. I don't need any more bone stock. I'm good.
Yeah. It's not that he's like the whole character. He's not malicious.
No.
He didn't come about these bones from nefarious ways.
No,
he just has extras.
He's got a lot of bones.
He's trying to get rid of them.
And he's just trying to get rid of them. And you're like, no,
I don't
no,
need more
thank
bones,
you.
doc.
I don't need any more bone stock. So occasionally it leads to pretty hilarious,
Yeah.
fun times. Other times you just say dag.
Dag. I don't know why.
Is that like a terrible white people dab?
I guess. I don't know where the G came from. I really don't. But yeah, so it's a really cool thing. Like literally you can like bang on, like there's a video that I saw where somebody had an industrial, like a tiny fan that spins so fast it could chop up fruit. That just, it sounds like it really sounds like it's going. And it gets really loud. A bullhorn, right? Or a blowhorn? Is it the thing you talk into?
You mean a megaphone?
Megaphone.
Mhm.
It's a bullhorn.
I think those are the same thing.
Is it? I mean, are they? Okay.
Yeah, but I think bullhorn is like an old timey.
Oh, like a brass one?
No. I mean like maybe from the 1950s or something. I don't know.
Would that not be made of brass?
Or no, I feel like bullhorn is maybe what they called it in like the 1940s when you used the phone. I don't know. I'm just making shit
What's
up now.
a bullhorn?
This is what happens when I get like.
What? How did she get that from what's a bullhorn?
Siri also has been in quarantine.
She somehow she gets my timers right 99% of the time. Sometimes I'll say a minute and she'll put it to an hour. Right now she thought I said, I don't know what's a bullhorn.
Anyway.
What is a bullhorn? It is a megaphone.
It is a megaphone.
Yeah.
I was right the first time. Shouldn't
Okay.
second guess yourself, kiddos.
But and like they had the siren going on that, and somebody was vacuuming, and the only reason the audio didn't sound good is because the person was yelling because they thought they would have to, because they couldn't hear themselves.
Yeah. So the software is pretty wild.
Yeah. But apparently, because I was talking to a friend. And he was talking about how he's gone to the gun range, and there are headphones that most people wear, like when you're like a really like big into shooting, that cancel out the sound of gunshots, but don't interfere with the sounds of talking. So
How do?
because I'm assuming that it's not like super similar, because this is an actual AI software, whereas the headphones are probably hardware.
Yeah.
They probably dampen sudden loud sounds, and when they
Maybe there's something about like the frequency
that too, yeah.
of the actual sound waves themselves.
But I haven't looked into it, so I don't know. I am not knowledgeable on this subject. I did not do the research.
But it's neato
Yeah.
that science has done these things.
Yeah.
So hopefully coming to you soon, very cool physically, while also very quiet aurally.
Yeah. Hopefully. And then so that was one of the things I wrote down. It's just that's a cool thing and an advancement in AI software stuff.
If you do any kind of like audio content creation,
Yeah. The only
that's a pretty
caveat is
neat
that
thing.
you need to have an NVIDIA graphics card.
okay,
Yeah, which most people do if they have a PC set up.
okay,
Shit, like I think Macs have NVIDIA graphics cards.
oh,
Yeah,
That's
like,
cool.
Most companies go with NVIDIA for that.
Speaking of Max, we should tell Max about that.
What, the software?
The software, yeah.
Oh,
They set up a voice
VO
recording.
booth, yeah.
A VO booth, and they took some good friends of ours.
Yeah.
My one friend Max is working on some like film acting stuff, and he's especially interested in doing some voiceover work. So they made a VO booth out of their closet. They like took all their stuff out of their closet. Chelsea was putting together a dresser today because they need a place to put all their stuff now because they emptied their whole closet and like put all this soundproofing stuff on it and made this little VO booth in their closet, which is really cool. Apparently a lot of people are doing this.
Well, yeah. I mean,
which is really cool. I'm into that.
I've been meaning to buy soundproofing stuff
for a while.
Yeah, just for the room because, I mean, carpeting helps a lot. When I was in the front room of the old apartment, it was very echoey just because it was linoleum and there was like when we hung the jackets up, it was slightly better.
That's true.
Because any kind of cloth will dampen the sound.
Yeah.
But having carpet is pretty decent for this room. True. I haven't noticed any like echoey garbage. But if I was to start to do anything excessive, like when it comes to voice stuff or like playing any video game that gets me really like, you know, doing that all shenanigans, it would be better to have soundproofing stuff just for the fact that it would dampen it for the neighbors who are actually home now. Whereas before, when I was home, nobody was really home.
Nobody was home. So,
I was working from home.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's cool.
It's a very cool, fancy thing.
Yeah.
So if that's your setup, if that's your jam, you should get the software. It's free, right? You don't have to
Yeah,
pay
it's a
for
free software, but you have to like. I mean, my graphics card's $700. So
right.
Like,
I mean.
yeah. So like, there is an entry point.
Right.
But that entry point is also lower depending on how you get it. They say it's only for like RTX cards, which is what I have. I have an RTX 2080, but you can use it on other cards. I don't know how to do that because
it's possible.
Yeah, there's people out there that'll probably have guides and stuff to it. My other two things, I don't know that I really want to talk about because one of them is what does ASMR stand for, and now enough time has gone on that I don't care anymore.
Because I
audio, smadio, madio, recording.
Sure. Let's do that.
Just smadio, madio. That was terrible.
I'm proud of you anyway.
I'm not proud of that.
You should be.
No, I shouldn't.
Yeah, it was a lazy joke, but
yeah. I mean, audio, smadio is fine, but then going madio again.
What was the other thing you were going to tell me earlier?
Oh, we were in the kitchen. So we watched some movies. There's one other things we wanted to talk about. I mean, what the hell else are you supposed to do right now?
Right. We've been watching a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you more than me, but
yeah,
we
that's
have
because
seen.
I'm home all day.
Yeah, well, I've seen 3 movies with you that I wouldn't have watched otherwise.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Code 8, Hobbs and Shaw, and Extraction.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did I not realize I've watched 3 movies? Honestly, when
You've watched more than that.
I know, like once you get to a certain point of like I've just been having TV on for so many hours for so many days, you like forget that you've been watching TV for hours for.
Yeah.
days.
I mean, we've gone through like 16 episodes of Scrubs.
Yeah.
You've finished
several
Community, and we finished Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Like we're caught up and to the newest season.
Yeah. I mean, at the start of this, I was finishing watching New Girl again.
Yeah.
And now I'm on the 3rd season of a whole different sitcom.
Yeah.
Which is delightful. I'll talk about that later if you want me to.
But
so Extraction.
Yeah. So the thing I wanted to say is if like you are interested in this movie at all, if you've ever thought, I wonder what it looks like for Chris Hemsworth. No, how did I say this? Let me get there, because the way I had it was perfect.
Find your place. Getting character.
Oh, okay, I got it. If you've ever wondered what it looks like for Chris Hemsworth to kick a small malnourished Indian boy so hard he does a flip, boy, do I got the movie for you.
It's dark.
Hey, he doesn't kill any of them.
Whereas
our bad guy earlier
super murders some folks, especially some children.
Yeah, so the movie isn't afraid to be like, no, this is you're not.
The villains are villainous.
Yeah, like you're not
is an appropriate way.
There's
to describe
a clear line where our protagonist will not kill children.
Plenty of murder,
but not
children.
But our villain, when we're
Will
introduced to him, he
is responsible
has people-
for the murder
yeah,
of children.
two
And he's-
at least
and
that we
he's
see.
willing to maim others
and murder more.
and murder a lot more of them.
Yeah.
Or send them to their deaths, which might as well be murder.
Yeah.
So the villains are villainous.
Yeah.
And the protagonist is Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
So you're welcome.
Like, are we gonna get into? Can we spoil? I would say we can spoil the actual like action bits because those are cool to experience without knowing anything. All I knew is the one take was in the movie. I didn't know how long it was
Right.
or
Or like what it actually contained. Really.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some really, really cool stuff about.
Like the movie. So if you're like, okay, what is this movie about? Mercenary Chris Hemsworth gets job to rescue drug lord's son from a rival drug lord, and we're talking like owns all of India, owns all of Bangladesh drug lords, not small time.
Not like, oh, I have a couple of blocks in New York City that
yeah.
are mine. Like, we're talking like whole cities, whole country,
whole armies.
Like the whole point is they're trying to get the boy back across the border back into India.
Yeah.
Where then like the military, which is partially owned by his father,
yeah,
will then keep him safe.
Whereas
all
of the military in Bangladesh is under this
owned
one
by
guy.
this other drug lord who's happy to murder children.
Also, don't know if any of this is accurate representation to any of these areas.
Yeah, no idea.
Probably not.
Probably not. Probably very problematic in that way.
Yeah.
But what like action movie starring a white dude set in a country of not white people isn't problematic, to be honest. I can't honestly think of any. So
I knew what I was getting into with the movie because somebody said, "Oh, this is Chris Hemsworth, John Wick," and I'm like, "Oh, okay."
And that was great.
Yeah.
It was like grimier in the way that like
because like so if you're wondering like why is it darker or whatever, this movie doesn't ham up certain things. Like John Wick's never like hamming it up in any of the movies, but you get a sense that things aren't entirely. They're not entirely real because of the hotel where nobody should do any hits and the money, like the gold coins that everybody has. Like there's this underlying sense that these hitmen and hitwomen and just assassins in general kind of control everything behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like, nah, this guy talks about how he did 3 tours in Afghanistan. And Chris Hemsworth is playing an Australian, so I don't know if Australia ever... They were? Okay.
They went to Afghanistan, yeah.
I don't know if his age lines up with any of it.
It should.
It should? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't... Look...
If he went in, like, 2003? 2002, 2003?
That's 17 years ago. Is Chris Hemsworth young?
If he
old
joined
enough?
up when he was 18?
Is he 30?
Yeah.
I don't know how old he is.
He's like in his maybe early... Hey, Siri...
Yeah, we should figure that out.
How old is... See, you talked and you distracted her.
Wait, what the fuck?
No, babe. I
don't know how to respond to that.
Yeah, don't talk to Siri like that.
I didn't.
How old is Chris Hemsworth?
Chris Hemsworth is 36 years old.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, he would have been old enough to do...
Gotcha.
Couple
I'm
of
just
tours
wondering
in
if they
Iraq
were
or
playing fast
Afghanistan.
and loose because they're like, whatever.
Nah.
Okay.
But... And it's obvious he's got some capital T trauma.
Well, yeah.
He's the traumatized, substance-abusing tough guy.
Yeah, which is all the rage instead of being like the quippy, funny tough guy. Like, it's the new thing.
He's the guy you're like, oh, he's like one bad day away from ending it all himself. And
he's popping pain pills left and right.
While drinking.
Yeah.
Shouldn't do that.
Nope.
Shouldn't mix depressants with depressants. Also, when you're already depressed, that's not a good idea.
Yeah.
Do not recommend.
But,
But damn, he got some murder skills.
Yeah. That's the thing is like, this movie doesn't try to play up any part of it like as an underlying thing. It's like, no, he's just a mercenary.
Yeah.
And it hits a little like the really graphic violence feels more graphic than even John Wick's really graphic violence.
Because it's not
the first time I saw a dude's head explode when John Wick blasted him with that steel slugs from that shotgun in John Wick 3, I was like, oh god. Like that hit different.
Yeah. But
the
violence in Extraction isn't as stylized, I feel like. Because John Wick is very stylized, the way it's lit, like colors are really important. Extraction, everything kind of looks the same unless they're in like a couple of like these really wealthy people's homes, and then those are all like, oh, very clean lines, lots of lighting, blah blah blah. Like when the kid's at his school, it's like this fancy private school, and so like that's like kind of a different visual experience. But 99% of the time, like if Chris Hemsworth is on the screen, everything is sort of dingy, dirty, yellow, grimy.
Yeah.
And someone's gonna get murdered in a way that you are like, oh god, that was cool, and also,
and he did a lot of his own stunts because there's a lot of takes where they don't cut and it's just him,
and you see his face, and you're like, that's Chris Hemsworth just doing that shit,
which is always cool to see. I mean, shout out the stunt people, because without them, like, so many movies wouldn't exist because
many. Stunt people are fucking badasses.
Yeah. But it is really cool to see actors do their own stunts, because there's something about it that's just like, oh, you can do that. That's cool. Like,
right.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, it's an extra level of skill and expertise, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not like that means that like the stunts then were easier, because they were they looked, to me at least, a sort of untrained, non-professional, to be just as complex as things that other studios would have brought in.
Yeah.
A stunt double to do. So it's like, oh, the actor is doing all of the traditional sort of leading man acting parts, and also doing all of this combat safely without like mortally injuring himself or someone else, which is like a different set of skills than is often asked of your average like action star. Which is really neat.
Yeah, it's also cool to see that Chris Hemsworth has learned how to fight.
Yeah.
Because like
I would not challenge him to a fight.
When you watch any of The Rock's movies where he's like, I'm the badass, and he's The Rock, it's like, you still don't, like, you throw punches like a movie star throws punches. Like, you really lean into it. It's very exaggerated.
It's very, like, about the visual as opposed to, like, what's effective in a fight.
So it was cool to see, like, this be realistic in ways that, as an action movie, 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
like
10 out of 10 action movies.
Yeah, like all 3 John Wick movies also get 10 out of 10s. If you were to ask me the plot about the movie, I'm like, oh, he's getting a kid, 1 out of 10.
Right.
Like the plot is nothing to the movie.
It's an excuse for the action.
Like John Wick 1
it's a vehicle. Yeah.
Hey, man loses wife. Wife leaves Puppo. Puppo dies. Man murders everyone. Like, that's an excuse to watch Keanu Reeves kill so many people.
And I'll take whatever excuse you give. Like, there's a point where with action films, like, well, though I will say, I will actually back up and say, one of the things that I do like about having someone like Chris Hemsworth, who has acting chops, do the stunt work, is that you can
I also like that he's not Thor. Like, he doesn't...
Yeah, he's very distinctly not Thor.
Yeah.
But having an actor do their own stunt work means that, like, their portrayal of the character can happen throughout combat. Like it's a little more seamless. Like if I take in comparison the feeling of watching Iron Fist season 1.
Ugh. Cut.
Right? Where you know that like 90% of the time it's a stunt double, and when it's not a stunt double, it looks like garbage.
Yeah.
And you like don't get a sense when you're done with that season of who the fuck this dude is, because it's a fucking kung fu show. Like it would be like if Jackie Chan didn't do any of his own stunts. Like part of the reason why Jackie Chan is so wonderful is because he's acting while he's doing these stunts. Like he's playing a character. He has these like very characteristic gestures, and occasionally those people need stunt doubles in order for shit to be done safely. You need someone who has an extra level of training, someone who might
I don't know
not.
If Jackie Chan does have a stunt double though, because he was a stunt person before he like became a leading man. Even
I'm
in
sure
China.
There's some stuff.
Maybe, but I don't.
But
I'm
like,
not sure.
I'm sure they put him in situations where he's been like, "No, y'all."
No, there's one that's really famous where he like almost got really injured, and it was him that did it.
I recently also rewatched Rush Hour 2.
Rush Hour 2 is real good.
It's so fucking good. I love that blooper at the end where they throw the guy out of the window.
Be in Rush Hour
3. Damn, he ain't gonna be in Rush Hour 3.
When I was a kid, I was like, man, when's Rush Hour 3 coming out? For so long.
I know. I was like, I love Rush Hour 3 so bad. And then
it came
he
out.
like looks at Jackie Chan and they both like genuinely laugh. Like you could just tell. Or when like
the
Chris
crew
Tucker
starts
like
laughing
yeah,
too.
when Chris Tucker like keeps calling him Jackie,
Yeah.
and he's like, my name is Lee.
Yeah.
Did you know Don Cheadle is in that movie?
Yeah.
Because he plays like the one dude who's like having there's like some sort of underground club thing, whatever.
Yeah.
First of all, they make his skin much darker than it actually is. So for a second,
How?
he's genuinely so much darker in this
That's
than
weird.
I have ever seen him look in any film since.
Has he just lightened up with age?
I don't know.
Is that a thing that's
I don't
possible?
think that's a thing, but maybe Don Cheadle did. I don't know. Don Cheadle can
Old
do-
people get real pale.
That's true.
Like old white people get really
So
pale.
maybe, I don't know.
I've never met a really old black
but
person though.
yeah, there's a blooper
Not in
where
real life.
Chris Tucker calls Jackie Chan Jackie.
Yeah, yeah.
And Don Cheadle looks at him and he's like, his name is Lee, damn it. It's like, Don Cheadle is like, it was, I don't know. It was really wild to watch it because I was like, was this before Don Cheadle was like Don Cheadle?
When did Hotel Rwanda come out?
I think that was after Rush Hour 2.
Was it?
We got a lot of fact checking going on in this episode.
It's
Sorry,
fun.
Not sorry.
You look up Rush Hour 2 release date. I'm looking up
Okay.
Hotel Rwanda.
Amazing.
2004.
Okay.
Probably started filming in 2003, 2002, something like that.
Release date 2001.
Oh yeah. So before that.
So that was pre-Hotel Rwanda. Before we knew that Don Cheadle was Don Cheadle. He's an
Yeah.
incredible actor. He was like playing this weird bit role in Rush Hour 2.
I saw that in high school.
I feel like I saw it in high
Like
school
in
too.
a class.
Yeah, like I feel like they showed it to us. I don't remember the context or the class
I
or the
don't-
reason
yeah, I
for
don't
showing
remember any
us
of that either.
such a film, but it must have been in like a social studies class, right?
Maybe. Yeah, probably.
That had to be it.
But yeah.
But yeah, so that was lovely. But yeah, when an actor does their own stunt work, to me it adds a level of continuity, and it also means that
You also have to have them do their own stunt work for what in this movie. So it's not a one take. We know it's not a one
Yeah.
take. It's a series of one take shots where you can see. You can't see edits. You can tell where they would be though,
Right.
because I mean it's over 12 minutes.
yeah,
So there's
not
there's
a
2
12
points that have to be edits because they get into a car and then out of a car
Right.
through a window. And it's possible that they didn't do it, but one of the transitions isn't because they go through a window. Like that's not, you can't do that. Like a closed it's the back window. You can't open that shit.
right.
One of them you can, like what they come in through the side and you can hand off the camera, but I don't think they did do that.
Yeah. So there's places where you're like, oh, that could have been where.
Yeah.
But it's honestly in some ways a little hard to nail down exactly where, which is some great editing.
Yeah.
Some great cinematography. That's excellent camera work.
Yeah.
Like that is like chef's kiss. Perfect
and
shit.
And it made it a chase sequence feel like you were a part of the chase, which is why. So everybody has talked up 1917 because it seems like it's one long take
yeah.
of a movie, which I've also seen things where it's like they get to the very, like it's been 2 hours and 30 minutes and then we get to Cillian Murphy and he flubs a line. And it's like, we got to blow up another plane. They go all the way back to the beginning.
Yeah, that would be hilarious.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, but
And
that's
in
funny.
some ways, I'm like, that's exhausting, and I guess that's an artistic choice, but that's terrible.
But I feel like that one of the things people talk about, it's like it feels like you're really with them behind enemy lines in World War One, and it's
Right.
just stressful.
Yeah.
Because at any moment they could come across Germans, and it's just like
And
that's the last thing they want to do because it's just two guys.
Yep. But yeah, so this like chase scene is all
Yeah, and
sort
it's-
of done as like this. It's like a simulated 12-minute take.
Yeah.
And
And
there's like multiple car crashes.
Yeah.
And like there's tons of driving and drivers
like,
going in and out of the shot. Like
multiple
it's
shootouts.
multiple shootouts. Multiple people get hit by vehicles.
Yeah.
What? And like, how do you even? I
Yeah.
don't know. It's done incredibly well.
Yeah.
And it's like visually really appealing and pacing wise, it's like super good.
Yeah.
So it was like, and it was a really cool way to do an action film because you could like, there's a way that scene could have been unremarkable,
Oh yeah.
right?
100%.
With like, 100 more cuts and some shitty dialogue, a couple of drone shots of them above, and like
Yeah.
that
Where-
would have been
'cause,
very
like-
conventional, and it would have
Yeah.
been bad. It just would have been very conventional. But
Yeah.
instead, they like had this
The
massive
camera was
undertaking.
always there.
Always right there with the characters.
Yeah.
And it's on this really intricate. I mean, I always admire things like the people who are dealing with the fucking sets and props work.
Yeah.
I have to reset that shit.
I wonder, like, because I haven't looked into any of this, if this was, excuse me, filmed in India.
I wonder.
Because, like, I mean, it's a Hollywood movie, not a Bollywood movie.
Right, for sure.
So, but I'm wondering how many Bollywood actors got their first, like, intro to Americans through this movie. Probably a bunch, because, like...
I wonder if that guy that plays, what's his name, Sanju? Is a
Saju.
Bollywood?
Not,
Saju.
yeah, there's no N in it.
Oh, okay. Saju is a Bollywood actor.
He's great.
He's fantastic. I was
Yeah.
like, who the fuck is this dude?
Yeah.
This is incredible. He is so good.
Yeah.
I was like, why is he absolutely on par with Chris Hemsworth in terms of like acting and stunt work and gravitas
Yeah.
in this film? And I've literally never seen this dude before in my life. He's so great.
Yeah.
So if the only thing that comes out of that is that director gets more directing opportunities because he's great.
mean, just do more action movies,
Honestly,
dude.
yeah, that dude could just like shit out a bunch of really cool action films and I would go see all of them. And that actor gets a bunch of work in Hollywood, then I would be very pleased with that
Yeah.
because he was great. And
So-
the kid was great.
Yeah.
That played like the little boy who got,
Yeah.
well, not little, he's like 14,
Yeah.
but he's great too.
Yeah, he's a teenager, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, the director said there could be a sequel or prequel that they want to do.
That's cool.
That's not really spoiling anything.
Yeah.
But honestly, a prequel about Chris Hemsworth and Gaspar.
That'd be pretty fucking cool.
I don't want to spoil that cameo because it was cool to see him. Whatever.
I was like,
how,
is that?
Yeah.
Is that? And then it was! And I was thrilled.
Yeah. Like how he saved Chris Hemsworth character because they talk about how he saved his life at one
Well,
point.
no, how Chris Hemsworth saved his life.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
And so he owes him. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
See how that worked out.
That'd be great.
Or a prequel about how Saju became the fucking monster that he was.
Because he is a fucking beast.
Yeah. Either, but you could do both.
Right, or both.
Yeah.
That's fine. Truly.
Multiple
I'm just giving out
extraction
free
prequels.
ideas, really. I just want to see that
I
director.
think I'm pretty sure they wrote the especially the Gaspar and then Chris
it's
Hemsworth.
based on a book.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting that at the end of the movie it's like based on the graphic novel. Blah.
Ciudad.
Yeah. I was like, I didn't know anything about.
Yeah, I had no idea. But it's based on a graphic novel. So
Yeah.
maybe we should get it
Yeah.
and read it and see if it's good.
Yeah.
It probably is if it produced that movie because it was really cool.
Yeah. I wonder if all the characters are the same. Who knows?
Yeah.
Because sometimes being based on a graphic novel doesn't mean it was translated one to one.
Right, that's true. And it seems like it might be a Spanish language
Huh.
graphic novel.
Weird.
Yeah.
That's double weird.
Yeah.
Especially because it's like, so it's a Spanish graphic novel made by an American stunt person who stars an Australian protagonist.
Set in India and Bangladesh.
Yeah. This is,
It's a lot of layers.
there's a lot of, it's like an onion.
It's like an onion.
It's a lot of layers. But yeah, movie's great.
It's real good. If you like a good action movie, and you won't die if you see some pretty
Visceral
hardcore. I mean, it's not like
Hard
gory.
R violence.
Right. It's not gory.
Yeah,
it's not like, oh, here are my insides, which is like I just like don't like that shit.
Yeah. No, this is like, that's gratuitous.
Yeah. But this is just like there's a few shots where you're like, oh, that would be a horrible way to die,
Yeah.
and they'll just
Oh, and the
people die
close
that way.
combat scenes are really good. My one criticism of John Wick is because of Keanu Reeves' age. Like, they play up the fact that he uses people's body weight against them, which is clever in the movie,
Right.
but it makes a lot of the action scenes samey, where he kind of just, like, trips people and does the same thing over and over, which sucks because all of the gunfighting and stuff is really good.
Yeah.
It's just the hand-to-hand stuff. I'm like, all right, can we get back to shooting people?
We get it. You're like quick.
Yeah.
Like, whereas
quick
Chris Hemsworth is enormous,
and he's in his prime.
so
like,
he looks like he could pick up a man.
yeah,
and
there's a
body
couple of times.
slam.
Yeah, he like body slams and also kicks and punches people so hard they fly.
Yeah.
Which, looking at him, you're like, well, yeah, he played the God of Thunder.
Right. But when you see it in a really grounded setting and it still works,
Yeah.
that's when you know you're
Because he
physical
kicks
peak.
people's legs out from under them, and they do full
Yeah.
flips.
Like he's got velocity, like
Yeah.
speed and also mass.
Speed,
Yeah.
velocity, momentum.
Yeah, he's
Violence.
not fucking around. Or
Yeah.
multiple times when he uses people's bodies
Against themselves.
against themselves, or
In a much more harsh way than John Wick ever
yeah,
had.
it's not like, oh, you're running at me and I'm tripping you. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm gonna pick up your friend who I just murdered and murder you with his corpse, and that is fucking.
We're not going to
rough.
say how, because that
Because-
scene was. I had an audible moment, and you were like, "What?" Because you were on your phone
Yeah.
for some reason,
For some reason, because I'm a dumbass.
and I was like, "You gotta see this," and you went, "What?"
I don't. It was.
Yeah.
And it was also really well done in terms of like the shoot. Like, how do you even get a shot like that? The guy was like moving, and then how do you? Anyway,
There's a cut, but still.
But yeah, they made it look really good.
Yeah. There's one sequence. There's one part where I was like, "That's a dummy." Like that where they throw someone over something and they lands, and he's like, he's like, "Yeah, that was a dummy." Like, but that's fine.
Right. Like honestly, one of my. Oh, I guess could we talk about Code 8?
Yeah.
Okay, so switching to a different.
It was just the thing
I
because
guess we're just talking mostly action movies.
Well, yeah, because we can't talk like we haven't done anything.
Yeah.
It's quarantine.
all we've
We're on lockdown. Pennsylvania is one of the smarter states in our country,
So-
where our governor is working with a lot of other governors in the Northeast to make sure we don't fuck over everyone who lives
else.
here.
Yeah. And
So-
also everyone in all the other states that we're close to.
Yeah,
that
I
are
said
less
everyone
populous.
else.
Yeah.
Just, so
Like,
even
if we're fucked, Ohio's fucked. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. So like they're working together, and even when our lockdown ends or whatever, like
It's not going to be like, business as usual now.
yeah, no, like even then, like not California, I think it was Texas and Georgia were like, we're gonna open movie theaters, and every movie theater owner went, "Fuck you are," because they don't have anything to put in the theater anyway.
Yeah.
Nothing new's come out.
And who the hell's going to show up? And even if they do,
Yeah, like
why?
movie theater owners have said like we will go to like half to 1/3 capacity to make sure people can be 6 feet apart and all that stuff. But at the same time, unless like Tenet, what's his name, Dark Knight trilogy.
Christopher Nolan?
Yeah, Christopher Nolan's new movie Tenet, which I don't know anything about and nobody else does because I don't even think a trailer's dropped for it. But it's a Christopher Nolan movie. It's going to put asses in seats.
Yeah.
Like that's supposed to come out within the next couple of months, make 3 or 4 or something like that. But Wonder Woman 84,
All these like huge
Black
blockbusters,
Widow, like all these.
all been pushed back.
Yeah.
Indefinitely, right?
Not indefinitely. Wonder Woman got a new date, but I think it's in June.
Yeah.
But it's like movie theaters aren't going to open until those movies want to actually be in theaters.
Yep.
And if they don't, because there's no reason to open up if you don't have reasons for people to come there.
To actually sell out.
Yeah.
It might, like, there's probably a point where movie theater owners are like, look, we don't even want to open because it's probably cheaper in some respects to just stay closed and have effectively no operating costs
Yeah.
than it is to operate and only be able to sell a third of the concessions and seats and tickets while still paying the same price for the films to show, because movies have to pay companies in order to show the films.
So it's like,
there cannot be a way that they would actually turn a profit off of that.
I mean, who knows how much they upcharge, but like there's no way
Still,
they know that just because they can open doesn't mean they are going to or should,
Right.
especially without anything to put in the theater, because
right?
There's
Who's
no-
gonna show up if there's
Yeah.
nothing
new,
to watch?
Yeah.
Like, that's ridiculous.
because that's what movie theaters were good for, is watching the newest movies
Right.
and the
With
newest.
large groups of people, because it's
Yeah.
fun
Yeah.
to go to a sold out show.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to be able to go to the movies
Endgame
again.
when Captain America got
Bro,
the hammer.
That shit was wild.
And if you're like, spoilers, well, fucking go watch it
Right.
already.
just like something,
I get
shit's
it.
been on Netflix for like months now.
Yeah, like I get it. It was last year, like literally this time last year that
Yeah.
movie came out. But fuck you. It's been a year.
It's been a year, which in Marvel film time,
It means
is
7 movies
millennia.
have come out. The only reason Black Widow's not out is because of fucking Corona,
yeah,
COVID-19.
etc.
Yeah,
But yeah, so
the
we're,
black lung pop.
we're just gonna what? We're just gonna talk about action movies. Okay, so Code 8.
Is that really an action movie, Code 8, though?
I don't know. It's like
more
a
of like a
dystopia,
drama.
sort of superhero type situation. It's really weird.
It's not really
It's a
superhero.
sci-fi. I would
it's not
say
a
it's-
superhero. I think,
Yeah, people have powers.
yeah,
But
that
are they
makes more.
heroes?
I mean, not in this movie. Like, not even our protagonist is a hero.
He's not really like a good person. He's
Yeah.
ultimately like less bad than the people around him. But
Yeah.
that's like not the same thing as being a good person.
Yeah,
Even in the
'Cause
sort of
he's-
like moral universe that they live in.
yeah.
So basically, the premise is that there's
The only reason we know of this movie is because it's got Stephen Amell from Arrow fame in it.
and I and you
Hmm.
love and respect Stephen Amell.
Yeah, and Robbie Amell, his cousin, who
Yeah.
was also from Arrow and Flash. Oh, actually,
And Legends.
was he on Legends?
I guess he never actually was on Legends.
No, because it
They
was the
replaced
Doctor
him.
and
yeah. with the like younger football kid.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
I can't remember his name. And I don't remember the doctor's name either. I just know he was a doctor.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
And he accidentally got a daughter.
accidentally, yeah, that was weird.
Because from some time fuckery.
Yeah. That show is really off the rails.
But they embrace their off the rails.
And that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
That's why
Whereas
Riverdale is the best show on television.
Arrow and Flash don't. Arrow only embraces the fact that Oliver Queen might be the Green Arrow. And the Flash only embraces.
Listen, Stephen Amell, if you ever find this podcast, I know you're consuming a lot of content right now because I follow you on Instagram and I see that you're consuming a lot of content and interacting with a lot of people on the internet. If you ever find this, I want you to know that I know that you can't say that they did you dirty, but we know that they did you dirty for multiple seasons.
Where the same plot line has
The
gone
same
over
plot
again.
line. And it was maybe interesting the first time, but after a while you're like, first of all, are the people...
Same plot lines.
Yeah, true.
I'm going to do this thing. Diggle says no. We got to do it. Sorry, Diggle. We're bros, right?
It's
Like, come on. How many times?
Like, both of these actors can perform. They're good and talented. Why did you do this to them?
Yeah, the writing in that show is just...
It is rough.
That first season's cool.
The first season is really cool in some ways because they like made a decision to tell it the way they did with the flashbacks, which was like cool, especially because there's all these characters who assume that they know, and then there's this wonderful dramatic irony where like we as the audience get to know long before any of the characters know, except obviously for Oliver himself. So much of his past that like we know he's lying before any of the characters know that he's lying. Yeah. And we even get to find out why he's lying often before any of them know. Yeah. And it adds a lot of depth to a character who doesn't tell anyone about himself. Like it's a way for them to add to his characterization without him having to stand in front of us and say exposition. And instead they're just like, let us just show you what was going on the island. Also, let us show you what happened when he just wasn't on the island when everyone thought he was on the island. And like that was way more interesting.
Like, these scars that he talks about and doesn't really say anything because people are like, how'd you get those scars? And he's like, well, you know, surviving's tough.
He's
and
like,
then
island things.
Then you see him actually get tortured and you're like, oh.
Like,
as a pompous, like, rich kid who's never had to struggle, now he's going through torture because somebody thinks he's important, even though like he's not important to the things that are happening.
He's just like some rich dude who crashed on this island. Like he doesn't know what's going on any more than anyone else. Yeah. And so that worked really well, his wig aside, because they did Stephen Amell dirty on that wig too, but we don't have to talk about that.
I mean, all the wigs.
We stand Stephen Amell in this household.
All the wigs are never good.
Anyway, so he was...
For some reason, CW really can't get wigs.
I really don't understand what's going on in the CW.
They will do Melissa Benoist's hair like she was still on that other network, but they will not get a damn wig to save their lives.
I'm like, do you know how much more time it takes to do a human person's actual hair?
And she's always looking good with her Supergirl hair.
Always. Her hair looks fantastic. Every shot.
Which is, I mean, that makes sense. It's not like when the other actor who plays Superman, his hair never looks fucked up either.
Right.
Like, they're like, no, it's going to.
They're like, it's super. Yeah. So their hair is just better than everyone else's. And I'm like, I accept that.
Yeah, that's
as
fine.
a trope of this. Why did y'all do Stephen Amell like that?
That wig sucks.
It was so bad. And it had no reason to be so bad. It didn't have to be that way. Anyway, Stephen Amell, if you ever find this, just know that we know. And we know it's not your fault. And we don't judge you for their choices.
Well, yeah, an actor can only do so much with the writing they're given.
Yeah, and he did as much as I think anyone possibly could. But he was really instrumental, and he and Robbie Amell did a lot for Code 8, so it's really cool. And it came out on Netflix.
And it was on iTunes first, and it was #1 on iTunes for a while.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was like fun. I honestly went into it going.
It dethroned Tiger King off Netflix's top thing.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah.
So basically, it's like a universe where
also watch Tiger King, unless you don't like animal abuse. Then probably stay away.
I mean, I wasn't watching it because I like animal abuse.
Well, no, like it's a triggering thing to you. Don't watch it if that's a thing.
Yeah, because wow.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Yeah.
So or just weird crazy white people.
Yeah. Anyway, Cody
Anyway, so Cody is sort of set up like this.
was better than I would expected it to be too.
It was, yeah. And I don't know why I had low expectations of it.
I mean, low budget superhero stuff usually doesn't work out.
Yeah, but they were good with it. They were like, okay, when the powers are getting used, they're not all on this big scale. Oftentimes they're a very small scale. Like the people with fire powers tend to melt metal in their hands. They're not like throwing giant fireballs at each other.
Yeah.
But basically there's like people who have superpowers, and they're sort of in different groups based on ability, and also then in different classes based on how strong their abilities are.
Yeah.
But there's
the one we know least about is Bronze.
Yeah.
Because
they're just strong.
That's what we thought, but then
the one guy got shot.
He got a magazine emptied into his chest,
and then he just sort of like walked it off.
Yeah, and then he got stabbed in the eye, and he was going to be fine. Spoilers. And then the only reason he died was because Robbie's character, whose name was Connor, shocked him, and it blew out the back of his head, and then he died.
Yeah.
Like, he was not going to stop with something like literally 3 inches into his head.
Yeah, that shit was wild.
Yeah. Also, they're strong, but...
Right. But, like, that was like, oh, that's a power in and of itself, is just, like, be around still.
Yeah.
And so there's, like, people who have sort of, like...
Also, very convenient that our other Braun friend, who was also a Brown friend, died pretty easily.
I was like, are y'all really going to kill the black guy? When the white guy with the same superpowers they were, I mean, though I guess that other Braun could have been a stronger class.
That's true. I mean, and it seems like the drug lord guy
would have like a high. Yeah. So like, there's some people who are
weird
telepathic. There's some people who can like melt things.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the one
drug dealer was telepathic. Which,
he could read.
If you're a drug dealer, that's probably like a really
if one of your lackeys gets arrested, you could just read their mind and see if they actually,
because that's what happens
to
Robbie Amell's character. So
he reads his mind to see if he's bullshitting them when he's like, I didn't say anything,
and then he's like, oh no, really, you're good, okay, wow. Oh, and also you have a plan to get a bunch of money. That sounds great. Which really cuts through some of the like bullshit that I feel like a lot of movies stumble over, which is like the point where the protagonist has to pitch to the drug lord or the crime lord or the crooked cop, okay, here's our crazy plan, and you just have to believe me that I'm not working for the cops. Is just like, no, well, he read his mind, he knows he's not working for the cops. And I was like, oh, that's so much better than us having to sit here and believe whatever bullshit is about to come out of your mouth. So there's different categories, and there's also like a level of discrimination.
Yeah, we got Bronze, Electrics, which is what Connor is, Robbie Amell's character.
Pyros.
Is that what they called them?
Yeah.
I didn't actually hear them.
TK's telekinetics, that's what Stephen Amell's character is. Yeah. Whatever like icy frosty shit his mom was.
Frosties. No. They got that Wendy's sponsorship.
Yeah.
We actually don't know, because she's the only one we see.
Yeah, she's the only one we see.
And then there's the telepath, and then we see a healer. But we don't know that they're called healers.
Healer is like a loose term.
But like, I mean, Connor called her that, so
I'm assuming it's a term. Like,
you would see. It would make sense for him to say that, and it be like the term. So,
but yeah, basically, there's a sort of, the world is set up that people with powers are in a very real way like second class citizens.
It's almost X-Men style.
Yeah.
If Magneto was right, which
arguably Magneto was always right.
But I'm saying, like, this is his
maybe
future.
Like less on the genocide, but like maybe he.
But this is what he's afraid of: is that humanity would be
total
like
control by the state and by people without powers of people with powers.
Yeah.
So they basically made them so like they don't have job opportunities. Like Robbie Amell is trying to like get a job, and basically all he can do is like manual labor on a cash basis, where they're technically not supposed to use their powers, though they often do in order to like accomplish difficult jobs.
He can do electrical work without gloves
because he can control electricity. So he's like working to like put electric shit in a house,
like wiring and stuff.
Yeah,
and he doesn't have to worry about being shocked. Yeah,
and there's another guy who's like telekinetic, who's like moving heavy equipment and shit into where like it makes sense, and it's probably in a lot of ways safer to have people who can do these things as opposed to like another random laborer. But the technology has advanced to the point where they've created these drones, these like large drones that go around. They can like scan people and identify you.
Because they like whenever the people that talk, they say pilot.
Yeah, because it's piloted by someone.
Well, yeah, but it makes it. They never.
It's not like a robot control. It's a person flying a drone.
Yeah, that was a thing that weird. Like I was like, are the actual craft drones
Piloted by someone in it?
Yeah, like
No.
because that's what it's like.
It seems like
Sometimes
they're
they made it
piloted
seem
remotely.
like it.
Yeah.
The
that
one
was a
scene
little
in
weird.
particular where he's like "fuck this" and flies into
Yeah.
tall buildings.
I'm like, aren't y'all just all in a room together? Like, I don't.
yeah, like why is it taking so long to get?
Nobody's just gonna like punch Brian in the arm and be like, "Hey, get your shit together, Brian. Don't fucking fly off for no reason." You
Yeah,
dingus."
like that was the thing.
That's
that,
a little odd.
Yeah,
But basically, these drones go around and they sort of act as like a surveillance state. And if people with powers piss off the cops in any way, they drop these super people robot murderers.
well, they're just drones as well.
Right, they're just drones. So they
But
drop
they're-
down and they essentially kill the people with powers without any kind of question. There's
Yeah.
no trial. There's no judge or jury. They just
Yeah.
do a bunch of murder.
Yeah.
I
The first time we see it is because a guy has a warrant. He hurts a cop to get away, and then they just open up on him.
Yep.
Which
in the middle of like a residential neighborhood,
yeah, but like
and then they like throw out everybody else like on the ground, and it's crazy shit.
yeah, I don't remember why that
Yeah.
happens.
So
I think it's because Connor says something like, "Oh, good job, guys, you did it."
yeah,
And then they're like, "All right, time for everybody to get the
Yeah.
hammer down."
because they're a bunch of jackasses.
Yeah.
So
Power tripping.
yeah. So then Robbie Amell is desperate to get enough money because his mom has cancer and they can't afford
Any kind of
any
treatment.
kind of treatment for her. And the thing about people with superpowers is that if they have something like brain cancer, which is what she has, their powers start to act up as a symptom
Yeah,
of
because specifically her tumor is pressing on the part of her brain that activates her powers, so she's just
so she's like not
freezing
always in
things.
control of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
She works in a grocery store. She like freezes things accidentally. And her manager like freaks out at her. Basically, like people with powers are stuck in these like incredibly oppressive working and living conditions. And Robbie Amell is like, my mom.
we forgot to talk about Psych,
Yeah.
which is where some powered people, it's a drug
Yep.
made out of powered people's spinal fluid,
Yep.
and some of them like just let it be harvested from them.
Mm-hmm.
Others maybe not.
Yeah.
They don't.
Some sort of human trafficking situation.
Yeah,
It's like very unclear. In
Yeah.
some ways, I was like, oh, this is a really interesting like world building that's happening there because they sort of
They
nod
leave it
to
vague.
Yeah.
They
But you're
don't-
like, oh, I could see really horrible things stemming from this. Oh, and you kind of get queasy, and then the movie's like, right, but it's not about that. Moving on.
Yeah.
And so,
There we go. This looked good. Would you fuck me?
I mean,
I'd fuck me.
I would just mess up your hair.
It's not really working.
I mean, that definitely made it better.
I guess. Let's look at this chunk.
You got a chunk.
Yeah. Sloth loves chunk. It's Goonies. Chunk's the big dude. Sloth's the tubby one.
I've never seen Goonies.
You ever seen Goonies?
Never seen Goonies.
Well, Josh Brolin's in it. We gotta watch it.
Yeah, it's when he's like lil,
Yeah.
when he's a bab.
Is he little or is he a teenager?
I have no idea. I've never seen it.
I guess that's fair. I
You're asking the
know.
wrong person.
What's his name? Samwise Gamgee. What's his name?
Oh yeah, Sam Astin,
Sean Astin.
Sean Astin.
He's little in that.
He's a bab.
So maybe he is little. I don't know.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, so Code 8
Sidetracked.
is cool. The powers are cool. It's
Yeah.
like
Stories.
it's interesting. There's
Yeah.
cool action, couple really like cool kind of like chase, intrigue, heisty type
Yeah.
things. Stephen Amell is great in it.
Yeah.
I love an asshole, and he's just an absolute asshole. He's
Yeah.
just a jagoff, and I love.
Which
watching
makes me
that.
excited for his new show that he's doing,
Yeah.
Heel, where he's a wrestler
Mm-hmm.
in the wrestling world, and he's a heel, and heels are the best. Say what you want about good guys. It's so much more interesting in wrestling to watch the bad guys.
Yep. So I was like,
That's
oh,
why The Rock was good back then. It's because
Yeah.
he was a heel.
Yep. So yeah, it's
That's why I
he's-
called everyone candy asses.
and also because they were candy asses. Yeah, we watched that, and that was good. I highly recommend if you like just like a decent sci-fi movie.
Mhm.
It was good. It was cool. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, superpowers, dystopian, kind of dark shit.
Yeah.
Neato. That's cool.
Yeah,
Oh, there's like drug lords. Okay.
which makes sense.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that checks out.
Yeah.
There's like these cop characters. There's like this one cop who's just like hella racist. This other cop who seems to be like
not.
not racist. So it's like an interesting interplay of like sort of Robbie Amel's character story, and then like the cops also trying to track him down, and like what they can prove and what they can't prove, and that's kind of interesting. And it was good.
Yeah.
Like it was like I was like, oh, that was okay. Like
It
that
doesn't
was
overstay its welcome either.
yeah. It's like, oh, here's the film.
Isn't it like an hour and a half?
Yeah, it's like boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
and scene.
Yeah.
And I was like, thank you for
Yeah.
not wasting my time with like gratuitous bullshit.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool. So that was like it was good.
Yeah.
If you like a good sci-fi movie with a little bit of action, a little bit of drama, a little bit of dystopia thrown in there.
Yeah.
It's good
So,
shit.
Then you watched Mission Impossible and Godzilla. You didn't have high opinions of either of them.
No. How do you make a movie called Godzilla King of Monsters? And I'm bored. How did you do that? How'd you do that?
Well, from what I've heard, because I only saw the last bit of it where monster shit was happening for the most part.
And that was cool.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I was like, why do I care about Mothra? But Mothra!
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why I gave so much of a fuck, but I gave so many fuck.
I
And they
mean,
managed
he's a
to
big
make
moth.
It's pretty adorable.
Yeah.
And
she's a
also
big moth? I
she.
don't know. Okay.
Yeah, she's a girl. And also like they made Godzilla expressive, but not like a person, which
Yeah.
was really cool. Like the times when you actually see Godzilla's face, there's like you see a lot. Like it feels like he's a whole character,
That's
even
good.
though he doesn't really speak or like he's not humanoid in any way.
Yeah.
But
Other
they
than
do a
his
great
bipedal.
right. But they do a great job of like making Godzilla into like this character with expression.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's super cool. Could you stop like dwelling on like these white people conversations that we're watching? Because like I don't give a shit about all this.
Yeah,
other-
I've heard the worst parts of that movie are just the fact that it focuses on the human story, and the human story is not good.
And it's not even the most interesting humans.
Yeah.
Like there's this one woman who's like she's like a historian. She's like a specialist in like the sort of mythical origins of all the monsters. I'm like, excuse me, where's her fucking story? She is so cool. She
Also-
can just look at a monster and be like, oh yeah, here are all the myths associated with that and like how they differ across time and culture and geography. And I'm
Yeah.
like, your life is so cool. Why are we focusing on this dude who up until this movie started was like studying wolves in Siberia or some shit? Like, why do we care about him?
Why are we focused on Millie Bobby Brown's character?
She's like 12.
Yeah.
What are
Does she have a connection with Godzilla or something?
well, you know, they gotta have like a young white person who stares up into the monster and like sees a real creature. I don't know.
Because that's what they made it seem like in the trailers.
I don't know. I didn't see anything special about it.
That's so
She's
dumb.
just gutsy. Like it's like really not good. And also, Millie Bobby Brown is great.
Yeah.
Why did you have to mistreat her that way? Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? Show me monsters.
Yeah.
They like didn't have enough monsters.
That's weird.
I was like, this is like the opposite of the Man of Steel effect. Like, I actually want more cities to be destroyed. Like,
I'm okay with cities being destroyed when Superman doesn't know what he's doing.
yeah, I guess.
What?
It was silly. The first time I watched Man of Steel, I was like, and we're supposed to walk away seeing Superman as a hero? Because people are dying. And it seems like he could make that not happen, but he keeps letting that happen. I don't know.
mean-
maybe I should just rewatch it.
You're not gonna watch it, so that doesn't even matter.
Maybe I will, just
No.
to spite you now.
I just like the idea of like stories of Superman before he is the quintessential Superman. Like he's kind of like, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, not really. That take is boring. Like I don't know if I should use my powers to do things. Fuck you. I hate that. Die. Anybody, but like him.
We know you can't, but
Yeah. Like stories where he just genuinely is like, I don't know how to control my super hearing, so sometimes I don't know people are in trouble. Or like those kinds of
Wow.
things are cool. Unfortunately, so there's apparently a really good comic called, I think it's American Alien, which is about Superman before he's like Superman. And like one of them, I think it's by Max Landis though, which really sucks because apparently he's a giant piece of fucking shit.
don't be a piece of shit. I want to engage with your art.
Yeah.
Be less of a piece of shit so I can enjoy the things you create.
Yeah.
That's my soapbox for the day.
Yeah. And before anybody's like, are you sure? It's like, yeah, we're
Oh.
pretty sure.
Oh, it's that bad.
Yeah. But apparently
Rough.
one of the cool things, like, I don't think he was the artist. I think he just did the story, or the other way around. I don't know. Maybe I should look this up before I keep talking. I just know specifically there's a scene where he flies out into space for the first time ever, and he instantly gets all the air knocked out of him because he exited the atmosphere, and of course he did. But he had no idea that would happen.
Right.
Because he'd never tried to fly into space before. And it's just this really cool scene where he's like all of the air is sucked out of his body.
Yep. Because he's suddenly in a vacuum.
Yeah. And it's just really like that.
That's
that
super
sounds
interesting.
cool. Yeah. American Alien.
I bet that's on the DC Universe app.
Probably. Yeah, book by Max Landis.
Yeah.
But
the DC Universe app is worth it, especially if you want to read comics.
yeah.
They're like putting pretty much any DC property on there. I mean, it seems like they don't put a lot of the really big blockbuster films on there. Maybe they just don't have the rights to them yet, or maybe they're like waiting on it for some reason. Because I actually looked up, because when I couldn't fall asleep the other night and I watched that Mission Impossible film, I was actually going to watch Man of Steel, because I was like, I'm gonna give it another try, because I've seen it now twice.
And you like Henry Cavill way more now.
And yeah, and I really like Henry Cavill now. And
And he's got his whole hairy chest out in one scene.
Such a great he's got a great torso. Anyway, it feels gross when I say it, but I don't regret it.
I mean, you said torso.
Torso. And I mean the whole torso.
Sounds almost scientific, and that's weird.
I don't care.
Medical.
I'll climb him like a tree.
Okay, that's not as gross.
Sure.
When you say torso, it seems weird.
But yeah, so I was like, let me watch Man of Steel, but then I couldn't find it streaming anywhere except to like rent, and I was like, I'm not gonna buy a movie. I might fall asleep while I'm watching. So then I watched the Mission Impossible movie that he was in. God, that was a boring film. I was like, nothing is happening.
I wonder.
I feel like maybe if I cared about Tom Cruise, but
As Ethan Hunt.
Yeah, especially as that character who's like, what are his character traits? That he's bad at his job usually? Like, he manages to pull a lot of shit off in the end, it seems like. But
you're in the minority when it comes to thinking the movie's bad.
97% on Rotten Tomatoes? Are they blind?
No.
That is incorrect. See, this is why you can't trust bullshit like Rotten Tomatoes, because it's just not.
Well, Rotten Tomatoes, like, anybody who looks at Rotten Tomatoes and goes, ha, you're doing it wrong. It's a congregate of people's opinions. You're supposed to actually go into what they say about the movie, not just look at the score and be like, obviously it's good.
Right. Because that's just not how any shit works.
Yeah.
And yeah, Mission Impossible, Fallout? Was that what it was?
Yeah, it was Fallout.
It was not good, and I didn't care about anything that was happening, except I wanted to watch that fight scene where Henry Cavill reloads his arms. And that happened fairly early on in the film, so everything else, I was like, downhill, deeply downhill. There was like an okay twist.
Have you seen, like, have you watched other Mission Impossible films?
I watched the first two, I thought. Yeah, I've watched the first two.
Okay.
And I also found those to be boring.
Well.
So, I just don't care about Tom Cruise. They can, like, show me his face all they want, and I, like, don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
nothing
if you don't
about,
care about him, then you're not going to care about his character, then you're not going to,
And yeah, like, but it's almost like the film doesn't realize how much or maybe people like his character, so they focus on his character.
Well,
but
yeah, he's the main character.
But they have all these people, like, they have so many good actors that are just, like, ancillary to him that get, like,
his team?
Nothing. Yeah, his whole team is like, oh, wow, look at all these people. Wow, this person's
Pegg.
Simon Pegg is great. Why do they only give him these weird one-liners where he's, like, whining? But he's one of the most capable people on this team. So, like, what are we even doing? It's very
I don't even
strange.
remember when he's introduced.
It's very weird. And they set up a twist that's not even really a twist because they, like, foreshadowed it too hard too early. And it doesn't. It's just silly. Okay. Like, what, they didn't have to do Angela Bassett like that. Like, Angela Bassett is in those movies.
Yeah. Wait, in movies or just movie? I thought she was. I don't know anything.
I don't know because I haven't seen, like, the one that came before this one. But it felt like she was a returning character. And I was like, oh, Angela Bassett is a character in these films.
Is 3 the one with what's his name?
I don't know.
Let me look. Oh, Philip Seymour Hoffman. Yeah, the last one I saw was 3.
Okay.
Philip Seymour Hoffman was the main villain of that one.
An incredible actor.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, bro.
Rip.
But yeah, that I did not enjoy Mission Impossible Fallout. I mean, I enjoyed Henry Cavill despite the weird mustache situation, but
I think his facial hair looks fine in that movie.
Yeah,
like it's
it,
like a 5 o'clock shadow with a prominent mustache.
yeah, I was like, oh, I don't actually hate it this much when I see it in
Man.
the movie.
Which is why I don't understand why they couldn't have just kept that for Superman and Justice League and not
God
and
forbid
avoided
the
everything.
man have some facial hair.
It's just, oh no, a corkscrew hair. Are we
Which is-
sure he was even really dead? Like,
Because it seems like he maybe wasn't really dead because he popped out of the coffin.
well, I mean, they did do a thing to help that
Right,
process, but still,
So you're saying he can't grow a beard? Like, it's odd.
hair grows when you're dead.
Right.
Hair grows a lot when you're dead
Yeah.
because it's pushing out like your follicles still push out the hair that was there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, it was they had no reason to do that.
they bent over backwards to keep like the Superman look, but Superman's had a beard. So like, what the? You guys just fucked yourselves.
Honestly, I think the biggest issue with DC films is they just assume that the audience will never believe any actual decisions they make.
Superman had a beard in Man of Steel. God.
They're just like, oh, we messed up. Everyone's going to be mad at us, and they won't see. It's like, just make a decision in any given direction, and if it pans out, it pans out, and if it doesn't,
it
it
seems
doesn't.
like a lot of before Justice League came out, a lot of their films were focus group to hell and back.
I mean, I think part of Suicide Squad's main problem was that they had a movie.
Oh, and then they cut the
Deadpool
trailer.
came out.
Well, no, they cut the trailer to be more light and fun after Deadpool came out,
Yep.
and people were like, "Oh, that looks like a cool trailer." So then they had the people who cut the trailer re-edit the movie, which is
That is
not
nonsense.
Yeah,
Making a 2-minute trailer
does not.
does not a 2-hour multi-million-dollar film make.
No, that's
Like,
stupid.
there are 15-year-olds on the internet who make better trailers than even what they released from this professional company. And are you just going to turn a movie over to these people? Like, nah. And so, like, it just became so tepid. It, like, takes all of the interesting angles and, like, smooths them over so much that there's nothing interesting about it anymore.
Which is why Birds of Prey is good.
Because it has an angle.
Yeah, it's like, nah, all the dudes are shitty. Here are your chicks. Fuck with it.
And they're not great, most of them, but they're at least
one
interesting.
murders the shit out of people a lot.
A lot.
Huntress murders the shit out of a lot of people
That
slowly.
one woman is definitely an alcoholic cop.
Yeah. Well, not a cop anymore.
Well, yeah, she quits, but
Spoilers.
she starts
I mean,
out being a cop with
Yeah.
a clear drinking problem.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just
One of them's Harley Quinn.
right. So
So-
like, they're not good people.
Yeah.
Most of them.
But
But
yeah.
yeah. So it's like you just have to have a take. You have to have an
Yeah.
angle. You have to make a creative and artistic decision.
All right, but we got one more movie to still talk about.
Oh, do we?
Hobbs and Shaw.
Hobbs and Shaw. What a lovely time watching Hobbs and Shaw was.
That was like, I've heard some people say like the dynamic between The Rock and Jason Statham was a little. It felt too much because, you know, there's usually the straight man and the funny man, but they were both trying to be both.
Yeah.
And that it like there were times where it's like, okay, we get it. You're both alpha, blah, blah, blah. But they make that a part of the movie. Like, you guys can't get together
Right.
to literally save the world.
Like, it's still a dick measuring contest
Yeah.
through the end of the film.
Yeah. Well, not the very
Right.
end.
Not the very, very end, but most of it
Yeah.
is a dick measuring contest.
Yeah.
And there's a point where it's sort of
The
charming.
fourth act.
Right.
Because there's a fourth act in this movie. Maybe a fifth. I'm not
Maybe
sure.
a fifth. That movie ends like 6 times.
It can end 6 times.
Yeah. But it's like, it was fun. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, this, I had very low expectations. I was
See-
like, a Fast and Furious movie starring
Without
The
the
Rock.
main cast.
Right. I'm like, without any actual connection to the Fast and Furious movies, it seems
Well,
like,
no.
except for these 2 characters that have been around. But
I was
like,
going to say, I mean, the connection is
and then Ryan
them.
Reynolds is in it,
Wow.
basically playing as Deadpool, but he's not Deadpool.
I mean, but they literally went to do Deadpool energy.
They were like, same. You're just not gonna have all the makeup or the mask or anything.
Yeah.
We're
You're
just
just
gonna
going to
put
put
a
you in
suit.
glasses.
Yeah.
He's
So
like,
you're
I
gonna
wear
be
glasses.
hot Deadpool, and I was like,
Ryan Reynolds was just like, I wear glasses. He's like, yeah, keep those.
Yeah.
And they were like, wait,
they
you
were
said
like,
you were
basically,
going to.
we're just gonna like brush your hair and put you on set.
Yeah.
And
he was fine with it.
he probably got paid a lot of money
Yeah.
to have his hair brushed and then to go on set and be.
Yeah. I mean, I knew he was in the movie. I just didn't know where.
Yeah, I
because
had no idea he was in
Well,
it.
The Rock tweeted out a photo at like a couple weeks or maybe a month after the movie came out with the 4 of them, him, Jason Statham, Ryan Reynolds and
Idris Elba.
no, the other one,
What's his fucking name?
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart.
Yeah,
Who
he's
I
got-
also did not know was in this
yeah,
movie.
like they took a picture on the plane,
Because they had these like little bits,
Yeah.
which were hilarious.
but it's also potentially they'll be in the sequel
Right.
as like their team.
And that's adorable.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, this is a cute little
yeah,
Avengers team y'all are putting together. It's super cute.
but yeah,
But yeah, the dynamic worked. Like,
yeah.
I think
I'm also not tired of The Rock playing The Rock yet.
yeah, I don't
I
think
know a lot
will
of people are, but like I'm not.
yeah. In some ways, I'm not tired of comedic Rock playing the Rock.
Yeah,
I don't care when they put him in situations where he's the dramatic lead.
see, there's only two
God,
times I've
okay.
ever seen him like try to really act. One of them is Walking Tall, which I really like that movie. It still has a soft spot in my heart.
Yeah.
It has the one guy with the blonde hair and the blue eyes that plays the Tin Man from that weird Wizard of Oz that you like with Zooey Deschanel.
Yeah.
Um,
I forget his name, but
you know what I'm talking about
Yeah.
though. He plays the Scottish guy in Captain America 1 with the mutton chops, and he's very clearly got a lot of padding going on to make him look buff. It's weird.
that guy.
Yeah. We know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
But
Wait, wasn't he also in Legends of Tomorrow?
yeah, he was
Damien Dark.
Yeah, Damien
Yeah.
Dark.
He's got a great look.
Yeah.
Like, he's so pale and so blonde, and his eyes are so blue.
Yeah.
And, like, it's aesthetically, it's very interesting to look at.
Yeah.
Especially when you put him next to someone like The Rock, right?
Yeah.
Who's, like, so aesthetically different
Yeah,
and
yeah.
also enormous.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I
Yeah.
can imagine that being good.
Yeah. I like that movie a lot. It also has Johnny Knoxville in it. It was back when Johnny Knoxville was doing like acting instead of just Jackass, which is weird.
Remember that time? That was a brief window, I feel like.
It wasn't that brief. There was that movie that when Arnold Schwarzenegger started doing movies again after Terminator 3. It would have been like 10 years or something. Maybe not that long. But like, because he got out of shape because he got injured, but then he got back into shape for a 60-year-old man. He's clearly not juicing like Sly does. So even though he says he's not, come on.
Right.
You have, like, I get some of it's probably plastic surgery,
Right.
but dude, you're like almost 80 and you don't look a day over 50.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's on the juice. Whereas like Arnold looks old.
Yeah.
Like it's very clear he's not taking HGH because he looks like an old man.
Right.
That just happens to work out still. But like there was a movie where he's like a sheriff and Johnny Knoxville's his deputy and it's this whole thing. I think we watched that at one point.
This does not ring any bells.
I mean, I know I saw it at some point. I don't remember when or where.
But yeah, so that.
But yeah, but Walking Tall, and then there's one movie I always forget the name of it where he plays a dad who owns a trucking company, and he's not an action hero. Like there's not even any action in the movie. There's one
right.
chase sequence at the end of the movie.
I meant when I say like when he's like dramatic, I mean like Skyscraper and like Rampage, where
Is
he's
he dramatic?
I don't know, but it's less comedic.
Is it?
I think so. It's definitely not played as funny.
I guess.
Like-
I mean, he
It's
laughs
just-
at the guy that gets chased by George and
Well,
Rampage.
yeah, but
And he's
just
like,
'cause
he's
there's-
just messing with you.
There's some moments of comedy, but it isn't. I feel like it's more of a drama than something like Hobbs and Shaw, which is
don't know if
an action comedy.
I still. I mean, maybe I just.
Maybe they're just more straight action films, and it's not really about the Basically, unless they give somebody.
But there's that sequence where he's going to steal the plane. He's like, "It's a big arm. Go to sleep. You're gonna go to sleep."
Right, those are like there's little bits in there that are funny,
Yeah.
but it's not a comedy. Like
get-
you're not supposed to be laughing the whole
I mean,
time.
Skyscraper, I see, because
Yeah.
he's not. He doesn't really make any jokes at all. He's just like, "I gotta save my family."
Right.
Like that's just an action.
Which is like
movie.
fine, but I'm like, but that's not why I go see The Rock. Literally any dude could play this role, and I would believe
Well, except
it.
for
and-
the scene where he holds up a bridge.
right.
I
But
do
I mean,
like
they had
that.
Chris Evans doing some crazy shit like that.
Well, yeah, but I like that. As ridiculous as it is, they go, "Well, we got The Rock. Like, we're not gonna write
Right.
in stuff about his physique. Like, look
Right.
at the fucking guy. He can hold up a bridge with his
Right.
bare hands."
Obviously,
Yeah.
our
Whereas,
audience
like,
is just going to accept that that's possible.
I mean, I don't know if it's not.
Right.
That's the thing.
I can't disprove it.
I've seen him work out. I'm like, I don't know.
Sure, I
does the
believe-
math check out? Probably not. But I don't know.
I'm not curious enough about it to suspend my disbelief.
Yeah.
Or
Whereas,
to not
like,
suspend my disbelief.
Yeah, but whereas like Chris Evans, like he looks buff, but like we know he's a super soldier in
Right.
Captain America.
And that's why we buy it.
Yeah, so when he's like, I'm gonna fucking bicep curl a helicopter, you're like, yeah, probably.
And I'm like, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, but when Hobbs and Shaw, when The Rock stops the helicopter from flying away for like a little too long, you're like, I don't know if I buy it. But also, I mean, is this not a superhero movie at this
Right.
point? He jumps off a building willy-nilly at one point
Yep.
and uses other guys to
Get himself down.
yeah, it's the slowest descent. He
What
just-
I like about Hobbs and Shaw is like they went into that writer's room and they got to
that's-
set and they were like, we know exactly.
Have you seen all of the Fast and Furious movies where The Rock was introduced?
No,
See-
I've not seen any of them.
Okay, well, we don't have to start from the beginning because I don't want
I've seen
to.
the first one.
Well,
but-
I'm
and
saying
that's
I don't
the
want to
only-
watch through the first 5 or whatever before he gets introduced again
Okay.
because they're not.
Yeah.
I know 4 isn't good. I don't think 5 is good. I think it's 6 where he's introduced as an antagonist to Vin Diesel's character because, I mean, well, Vin Diesel and the whole gang are still stealing things and The Rock's a cop.
Yeah.
So, like,
Right.
of course he's going to be the antagonist because he's
Right.
the good guy, but our guys are good, but they're not good in the sense that they follow the law. You get it.
Right.
I think it's the 6th one. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember. I just know he's in 8, I think. Fate of the Furious or whatever the fuck.
Whatever the fuck.
But
That franchise is a mess.
but apparently when they rebooted it, quote unquote, with bringing in like The Rock and just being like, well, why the fuck aren't we just making this basically superhero movies where it's
Right.
fast cars instead?
Right.
And then that's when they found their stride again.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, oh, these are fairly grounded street racing
Right.
movies, though. If you don't know anything about the Fast and the Furious movies, the first one is about them stealing DVD players.
Yeah, it's a really weird. It did not age well.
Whereas the last one is them stopping Charlize Theron from controlling every like piece of technology ever. Like that, there's a clear difference between the last couple and those first couple.
Yeah, the stakes have risen
Yeah.
somewhat. But yeah, Hobbs and Shaw was this like, it felt like this really lovely sort of large scale not buddy comedy, right?
Yeah.
Like the whole point is that Hobbs and Shaw don't like each other and don't get along, but they both have skill sets that are necessary in order to complete the mission of saving the world. And so they're like going about saving the world, and Idris Elba plays their like sort of cybernetic villain. And he's fantastic in literally everything he's ever done.
How about his rap career? Have you listened to his music?
I have not, but it's just not really my. It's definitely British rap as opposed to like American rap.
Okay.
It's like very influenced by house music and that sort of, and that's just not really my scene.
Yeah.
So as much as I love Idris Elba, I mean he's fairly successful in his music career.
Not that
But
he needed to be.
Not right. Not like he's like, oh no, how am I going to pay for whatever I want to do? I'm
Just live off The Wire money forever.
he literally could just live off of like occasionally having pictures taken of him.
We're about to.
Like he's so attractive, it's stupid.
Yeah. But yeah, he's good in the movie
But he's
as
great.
well.
He makes a great.
I'm Black
action.
Superman.
He literally says, "I'm Black Superman."
They had to get the rights for that.
I know.
That wasn't cheap.
And then The Rock is like, he is Black Superman. And that's like it's a great interplay too, because Idris Elba has like a kind of a gravitas that like Jason Statham and The Rock don't really have in a very serious way. Like Jason Statham has like the British thing, but he's kind of like whatever white trash version of like British things are. Like he's not sophisticated, he's not classy really in that way.
I guess.
Definitely not the level that Idris Elba seems to be. Like he just seems to be a much like a different, more educated or sophisticated level of like that British action hero.
I guess. I don't know.
It seemed to me that there was like some interesting differences there, and then The Rock is just, The Rock, so he's like hilarious and enormous and ridiculous and over the top all the time.
Yeah.
And so like having them to play off of him, it was like he felt like a much more stable, sort of not ever intentionally funny character that the two dudes who are playing off of each other also can play off of. So
Yeah.
and it was like this really cool, it was a cool dynamic.
Yeah.
Um
Story.
Story's fine.
Yeah, it's nothing to write home about.
Irrelevant.
See, that's so. One of the things is like, I like judging movies based off what they're trying to be.
Yeah.
And if the movie doesn't know what it's trying to be, then I judge it based off that.
Right.
If the movie's like, I want to be a scary movie, but there's action and there's drama and there's comedy, it's like, what the fuck are you trying to do then?
Right. It gets muddled.
Yeah, there's like there's a point where you can have a movie that has all those elements and it works.
Right.
But a lot of the times, if it's not written well, it doesn't.
Yeah.
This movie knew what it was gonna do,
Yeah.
set out to do it, and then made The Rock go, my name is Mike Cox Small.
And they were like, they kept making jokes about his clothes.
Yeah, being too tight.
Right. Jason Statham was like, oh, your mom gave me this shirt for you to wear. It's in your favorite size, spray tan.
Yeah.
Like, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss. Like, it's like the jokes are really well timed. The action is cool.
I mean, I could have done with a couple less dick jokes, but
No, the dick jokes were perfect.
I mean, I just get tired of them. I've heard them my entire life.
Oh, that's fair. I did not grow up with siblings who made dick jokes, so
Well, yeah, I'm a dude.
we made a lot of boob jokes.
Yeah.
So boob jokes are still funny.
Where's the two female-led action movie where they talk about titties the entire time?
I mean, that's like, what is it? The Spy Who Dumped Me was apparently something like that. I never saw it.
Isn't that Chris Pine and or am I thinking of a different movie?
That's Mila Kunis and
what's
Kate
her face?
McKinnon.
Yeah.
But I've
never.
I don't think
but they're
fits.
not action heroes. Like I'm talking about two, like action lead ladies who are talking
that
about
exists.
titty sizes
Nope.
or
I can think,
vaginal tightness. If we're going for like the genitalia
just-
equivalents.
labia majora size. There are women who go on the internet and be like, I got a fat pussy, what you gonna do about it? And I'm like, you know what? You just came right out and said it, and I really respect that. I do not talk about that in my personal or professional life.
So how do you think it would be written? I mean, it has to be women writers because that's the only
Right.
way it makes
It's the
sense.
only
That's
way-
why I'm deferring to your
Right.
judgment.
And in some ways, that's the only way it would be like good or authentic in
Yeah.
a way, right? Is like you would have to get
Because like dudes, a woman can write a dude being like, let's talk about how our dicks are big.
Right.
And it's fine because everybody knows that's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
But like a dude being like, I got a fat, like saying like our labias are huge. I've got the biggest labia. It's like, wait a minute.
It would have the same energy as that Steve Buscemi bit where it's like, hello, fellow kids.
Yeah. It doesn't like,
It's like
you're like, wait a minute. Do they want big labia? Like you'd be like, there'd be a moment of dissonance where you're like,
Right.
I don't know if this makes any sense.
Right.
Whereas The Rock and Jason Statham both going, no, my dick's big. No, my dick's big.
because
Like,
I feel like I
that
can
checks
think
out.
of like comedies, but I can't think of like action movies. So
Yeah.
like I feel like there's some conversations around that in movies like Bridesmaids,
Yeah.
where like the women are allowed to be just like gross.
well, yeah, there's the sequence where she shits and it's awful.
One of the best scenes in cinematic
Hot lava.
history, where she just runs into the street. And the other one shits in the sink. Oh my god, it's so good.
Is that where what's her name? Both not Kate McKinnon, the other one.
Kristen Bell?
Yeah. Well, no, not Kristen Bell.
There's Kristen Bell, Maya Rudolph,
the other one
Megan
that
McCarthy.
was in Ghostbusters. Because Kristen Bell's from Good Place, isn't she?
Kristen Wiig.
That one.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, because her and Megan McCarthy both, like, didn't they break out because of Bridesmaids? Like, from SNL to, like, movies?
Yeah, to like movies. I think
Yeah.
that was sort of their bridge. They were
Yeah.
both absolutely hysterical
Yeah.
in Bridesmaids.
Oh, you must be so popular in school.
It's like so good. But they're allowed to be like really gross
Yeah.
in that way. And like that's one of the
Also, I
reasons
pantomimed a blowjob
Right.
if you haven't seen
that's
that movie.
worth paying for the video podcast alone. But yeah. But I can't think of an action movie where
Like an
that's
action
happened.
comedy, because we're describing an action comedy. But I don't know how many female-led action comedies even
There
exist.
even are, yeah.
Because Atomic Blonde is like the first, like, female lead, like, kick-ass movie a la John Wick with Charlize Theron. Yeah. And the only reason that movie exists is because of that one take
Mm-hmm.
in the movie where everybody's just tired as fuck, and they're like, "Do we have to keep fighting?" And they're like, "Well, yeah, because I have to kill you, and if I don't kill you, you're gonna kill me, so we got to keep
It's
fighting."
like a whole thing. So, yeah, I can't think of.
Apparently,
one.
the plot in that movie is pretty garbo, except that like the fight scene is good.
Right, which like in any action film, like
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, but
Is it bad enough that's like it?
I've heard like it's convoluted in a way that doesn't make sense. Whereas John Wick's like revenge about puppy. That's it.
Honestly, that's all the excuse I need.
Yeah, but this like apparently Atomic Blonde had like spy elements in it, and you're like, "Ugh, you're gonna bite off more than you can chew, aren't you?"
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Oh,
it's like that's
yikes.
one of the things is like Extraction knew what it was gonna be. We're gonna get kid from point A to point B. That's all this is, and we're gonna
there's
kill a lot of people.
Yeah, a
in
bunch of
between that.
motherfuckers are gonna die between point A and point B.
John Wick was like, I'm gonna kill a bunch of people because they killed my point B.
Yep. That's like, so there is no other point. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna murder everybody between me and that's it.
Yeah,
Everyone.
it's just everyone.
All you die. You and your
And
mom
then
too.
2 was like, well, somebody heard I was back in the game, and now I have to do something for them, but I don't want to, and that's a mess because
Yeah.
he breaks a vow, and all hell breaks loose. And 3 is like, well, you killed a man inside the Continental, so you're disowned. So now everybody can kill you. And then 4 is gonna be who the fuck knows what.
Yeah, whatever it is, I'm gonna.
John's probably gonna try to take down the entire assassin network.
Yeah, that sounds great. Love it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Keanu Reeves has said, like, he's on record saying, we'll keep doing them if people keep watching them. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to keep watching them. What?
Thank you, Keanu. Thank you.
Though I do hope, like, they do, like, an end at some point. Like,
Right.
like I understand being like, well, as long as they're profitable, we're going to do it. I'm
Right.
like, yeah, but also, are we going to get, like,
Tell a story though, like.
I mean, I don't need a story.
Well, no, but like tell a story implying like also have an end to it.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's
Though it did make almost no sense when he like cut off his finger with his wedding ring on it and then instantly went back on that. Like that was supposed to be a big deal of him re-entering the assassin world and getting forgiveness and not having to deal with it anymore. I do have a criticism over John Wick 3 story.
Yeah.
It kind of jumps the shark in a way that I don't expect.
Right.
Because it's like, oh, he's going to get back into it. Then he's like, no, I don't want to. My wife's more important. It's like, if she was so important, why'd you do all that? Like, it's just like, I don't know. Yeah.
That's the I
Yeah.
don't know.
You're Alaska right now. Oh, really old Alaska.
That's what she does.
Yeah.
My cat likes to interrupt herself and then give little like
Yeah.
sounds.
Yeah, it's
And
weird.
they're so cute, but also like, are you okay? You'll hear her be like,
Well, it's almost 1. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not really sleepy. Well, no, we're good.
but yeah, we've been watching a bunch of action movies.
Yeah. Have you watched anything else, or is that it for now?
I mean, I started Kim's Convenience, but that's like on a
I meant
very
movie-wise, but yeah.
Oh, movie wise. No.
Okay. But yeah, Kim's Convenience is funny.
Yeah, it's really funny. If you're looking for a good little like kind of lighthearted.
Wait, you said you're 3 seasons in already?
Yes.
Have you been watching it while I was at work and stuff too?
Yeah.
I don't know why you're doing that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's fine, but I
Yeah.
don't know why you're doing that.
I have not done the grading that I should do.
When's it due by?
The 4th.
Oh, well, I mean, you got 5 days.
Yeah. I mean, at the rate I'm going, I'm not gonna make it, so I need to speed it up.
Oh.
But well, I graded a few things today, but
But yeah. Though we did want to watch Kong, Skull Island.
yeah.
Because it's Brie Larson, Tom Hiddleston.
Hiddleston.
I almost said Holland, but that's not. Different Tom H.
Different Tom H.
Is Samuel L. Jackson in that?
I feel like maybe he is.
I gotta look because I was like, doesn't a trailer have him in it?
I don't know, but yeah, I mean,
They've been in a lot of stuff together. Brie Larson and Samuel L. Jackson.
I genuinely think they're just like friends in real life. That's my headcanon. If I'm wrong, don't correct me. So there.
I don't know. Did you wait for a response?
I was.
He is in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait,
So
what?
want to watch that? Maybe we'll like rent it on Amazon for like $3 or whatever.
It's not on. It's not streaming anywhere.
I don't think
John Goodman's in it. Well, we gotta watch it now.
Love John Goodman.
He's so good.
For those of you who love John Goodman, did you know that he has a small recurring role on Community? You're welcome. He's the vice dean in charge of the AC repair school. It's perfect.
Vice Dean.
the vice dean, which
so
is
ridiculous.
not a thing. I've never heard of
Yeah,
a
but for
vice.
Greendale,
Right.
it makes sense.
I mean,
in the worst kind of way.
It really combines my two interests of like being about TV and also being about higher education.
Yeah.
Especially higher education, like all the problems in the education community.
Yeah.
What's crazy about
I do like
Community-
the dean though.
the Dean Pelton.
When he dresses up half as a woman, half as a man, and he's just like, I have to go to the bank. What am I gonna tell them? I had good news and bad news.
He like does a whole bit, and then he regrets the bit in real time.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, they never showed this part of
Because
like
he
the over
forgot
the
his
top.
putting on the Ritz cane.
Exactly.
He's like, I know it has another name, but that's just what I call it.
What I love about Community
I
is
just
that
love
it's
that
not,
end where he's like, get your life together, Craig, and then walks out.
What I love the most about Community is the number of times where they like assume that their audience is smart enough to get a very sort of elevated, weird joke, or they're just like, we're just gonna give it to you. We don't care if you think it's funny. Like it's just we're just gonna allow really weird shit to happen.
Like anytime they do a game in the school and it gets out of hand.
It's incredible.
What is it? Is it paintball? Paintball. Okay.
Yeah, I think there's one game of tag.
Do they ever do water guns?
No.
Okay, so it was the paintball episode.
But they only have, I think there's only like 4 paintball episodes.
Huh. It's also funny that anytime you expect Jeff to win something, they turn it on its head.
Yep.
Though I will say, there's only so many times you can turn it on its head before you're like, and Jeff is out here. You're like, it's like, there it is.
But in some ways, what's great about the show is that it is commenting on the tropes that it is either showing or upending in real time, usually through Abed on screen.
Yeah.
And then they're all like, okay, Abed. And then he's like, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's a line in one of the episodes in the last season where Jeff says something. Oh, and then Abed will make a comment about this.
Mm-hmm.
And Abed goes, oh, like me from season 2? And it's like, what? Like, it's like,
well, he does that from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like in the first season, he's
but
like,
it's like he takes a break. He like doesn't do it for a while.
Yeah.
And then it's like full all of a sudden he's
Full
like
meta.
Yeah, like from like me from season 2. And it's like all the other characters are just like, okay, Abed, like you're really weird.
Yeah.
What he should say is like, because like a sort of normal thing would be like, oh, like me from a couple of years ago, or me from sophomore year, or whatever. But he's just like, oh yeah, me from season 2, and like all the characters like, okay.
Yeah.
Like the last episode is them making pitches about season 7 that never happens.
Yeah.
And they like, of course it's like them starting to narrate the pitch, and then it cuts to the pitch happening. And it's just wild.
Yeah. Because like in season 1, there's like, I don't know which episode it is. He's just like, yeah, we got a lot of screen time last week, and then they don't. They're not in
done.
The rest of the episode.
It's so good. Where like the fact that in the end Abed is the one who actually like knows more than everyone else is a really great conceit of the show. It's like what's in some ways that like I guess I just really like dramatic irony. I like knowing sort of the capital T truth as an audience member that the characters don't know.
Yeah.
Like the characters are not aware that they're characters in a TV show,
Yeah.
but Abed knows that they're characters in a TV show, and he is the meta commentary while also being involved in, like, he's like making choices while also being aware of what would make a better story. So like there's an episode where they forbid him from having a story because he's trying to make a story when nothing is happening. So he like wanders around the school trying to like create a story because he's like, oh, this episode's gonna be really boring, like there's no problem, there's no inciting action, like nothing is happening. And they're like, right, everything is good, Abed, that's a good thing. He's like, no, that's terrible television. And they're like, Abed, no, this is real life. And he's like, no, this is a television show. And it's just like really funny.
That's not true. Look at any, like, I mean, there's tons of feel-good comedies where there's no problems.
Yeah.
Or they're hijinks problems.
Yeah.
Community has some real problems.
Community has like actual, Greendale has some
Yeah.
issues. The episode where they are like, did we really give a diploma to a dog?
That's bad.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And
Jeff's fully ready to do an attack ad on the dog. His past lawyer self takes over immediately.
he's like, obviously we had to defame the dog. What do we know about this dog? So good.
It's ridiculous.
And then Abed just goes along with it. Like,
Well,
it's
yeah, he
just
gets to make an attack ad.
yeah,
He doesn't care.
it's pretty great. There's also an episode where his like student films are like predictive of conversations and events that are going to happen, and they're like, Abed, how can you possibly do this? He's like, well, you know, I observe people's behavior. That's my thing, is I watch people all the time. And they're like, but he's like getting things down to like the words that people are going to say in conflicts that haven't happened yet. But it's like, well, because Abed is the writer of the show as much as he's a character, so it's really, it's interesting. I feel like the first time I tried to watch it, that was really off-putting to me because I'd never seen anything like that, and I didn't know how to like deal with it. I was like, oh, but this isn't just like the pure sort of classic clean cut comedy with nothing more interesting happening. But when I watch it now, I'm like, oh, this is actually like doing a thing.
Yeah.
Like, this is like saying something while also being like funny and interesting, and a way of like breaking up the monotony of a sort of episodic comedy about a gang of misfits.
Yeah. Does that happen more when Troy leaves, or like is it the same amount throughout the seasons?
It depends. I feel like when Troy is there, they have more times when they go on adventures together, and it's not Abed doing the meta commentary.
Okay.
And then when Troy isn't there, there's a little more of that. But when Troy is there, Abed just has different shit to do. Because he has someone who like actually hangs out with him and like plays his like imaginary games with him.
Yeah.
Whereas nobody else really does that. So
The one time Annie does, everything goes wrong, and she has to save Abed from himself.
Yep. It's pretty wild.
And the locker he locks himself in within his own imagination.
In his dreamatorium, yes.
Yeah,
that's just their extra bedroom. Why do they have a whole bedroom in their very small apartment dedicated to a place where they play pretend?
Because why not?
Because they're very weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a weird show. What a delightful.
It's very strange.
Weird. Like, one of the pitches in the last episode is where Annie's like, oh yeah, I'm original Annie. It's like her characterization for the first like 2 seasons. It's super interesting. The show is like always aware of itself.
Well, yeah, because Britta, even in the very first couple of episodes, is smart. And then she takes a hard left turn.
Hard turn.
I know I did right.
But
hard left.
And then Jeff has that line like, I can't believe I used to think you were smarter than me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is devastating. That is... like,
and she's not. Like, she really is not smarter than any of them.
No, she's really not bright. Poor kid.
They go full into, oh, she's the worst part of social activism because she likes to say she does things, but she doesn't really do them. And when people calls her out on it, she's like, no, you're racist or something.
Right.
Yeah.
I can forgive racism, but animal abuse? And then Shirley goes, you can forgive racism? Is like the perfect, like, it's like it's sort of distilled, like, your logic doesn't hold. What is wrong with you?
Yeah. It's the perfect distilled part of the worst parts of Tumblr to ever exist. And they name drop Tumblr, which was cheap as shit because Yahoo didn't know what to do with it. And nobody did. And Yahoo lost billions of dollars.
Definitely millions.
Definitely millions.
Definitely millions.
Definitely.
I feel like they say that in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, okay.
Definitely dirt.
He's guns to talk about the turtles.
He guns to talk about the turtles. So good. Shout out to Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
That show's great.
What an incredible, lighthearted.
I could do without the multi-episode arcs where everybody's lives are in danger or their careers or whatever they want to do to stress us out for those episodes.
I'm like, I don't come to this for stress, y'all.
Yeah.
I'm here so that we can have hilarious cold opens.
Though I am glad. So at first I was like, oh man, Gina's gone. But then I was like, man, they really lean into her character just being like kind of a dick.
Yeah. She's like not a good person at all.
Yeah. So it's like, no, I get why you would like, I mean,
especially
Chelsea,
with the network switch.
Yeah. And I mean, she probably was like, oh, I don't want to do the show as much anymore anyway.
Right.
Or
she
at all.
Had a kid. She was directing a feature film.
Yeah.
She just dropped an album.
Okay.
I don't even know what is happening with that. I think it's a comedy. I don't know what's happening.
I don't know but yeah, like there's a point where you're like, okay, I get why they would like why she would step away and why they would be like, and we're okay with it. Because like her character just kind of starts to grate.
She just starts to be really mean spirited.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, there's only so many times I can watch her be like actively mean to Charles
Yeah.
before I'm like, first of all, Charles is mean to himself enough. Like,
Yeah.
we don't actually need anyone to bully Charles.
Yeah.
Life has bullied Charles, okay?
His family is so messed up.
So weird. So it's like, we don't actually need Gina around to
Yeah.
like, push. And then any of the other characters, she didn't really add anything to the dynamic except
Yeah.
that she was just sort of mean.
Yeah,
really
and they
strange.
would focus, like, because they were trying to give everybody parts in an episode, but her stories were never that
Yeah.
engaging at some points because so much of it was dedicated to, like, oh, she makes fun of everyone except Rosa.
Yep.
And even then, she'll make fun of Rosa sometimes, too. And it's just like, okay, we get it.
Yeah.
Everyone else gets to do so much and grow so much. Like,
All the characters have grown.
yeah, Jake and Amy, both, like, Jake becomes more mature. Amy becomes a little immature. Terry, I don't know how Terry grows. Maybe, I don't know.
Terry doesn't grow, but he's interesting enough on his own. Well,
Yeah.
in some ways, they sort of present him as a more emotionally mature person from the beginning.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that he's sort of, in some ways, a very stable,
Yeah.
mature, evolved sort of person to begin with. So
Yeah.
it's not like he has a lot of growing that
Yeah.
it feels like he needs to do. I mean,
I don't
there's
know if Charles grows at all, but
Charles. I mean, he's become less desperate about certain things in some ways because he has like a long-term relationship and a son. They've like given him avenues for his desperation.
yeah, but he's still desperate for Jake and Amy to have a child,
Right.
and that was weird, and it's always weird.
It's always weird. I like that they continue it though.
Yeah,
'Cause it's
Rosa becomes more open as just like emotionally in a person, and then you learn more about her. Holt, same. He becomes.
And
He's not a robot.
Yeah, and he also becomes more willing to admit when he's wrong,
Yeah,
which is good.
Scully and
Hitchcock.
are the same, but they're not there to evolve.
Right.
They're there to eat a lot of food and be bad cops, but also good sometimes.
Somehow accidentally good.
Yeah.
The fucking episode.
Good at paperwork, but also bad at doing it sometimes.
that one cold open where
He drinks
Scully,
his own goldfish.
yeah, where Scully comes in with the mason jar of lemonade,
Yeah.
and Hitchcock has the exact same mason jar but with the goldfish in it,
Yep.
and Jake like runs into the break room and he's like,
Something
"All right,
amazing's gonna happen.
something amazing is gonna happen," and he's like, "Let's take a bet on like it whether Hitchcock will put fish food in Scully's lemonade
Yeah.
or Scully
Scully
will
will drink
the
goldfish."
goldfish, and then he's like, "Oh no, Hitchcock is drinking his own goldfish."
No, because Rosa says,
Oh, yeah.
she's like, Hitchcock just drank his own goldfish. He's like, what? No! And then it cold opens.
It's so good. Some of their cold opens are only okay, but when they get it right, it's so right.
He
it's
drank
like-
his own goldfish.
It's like the perfect, because you're like, okay, they have now just in dialogue laid out the two possibilities of what is going to happen,
Yep.
and then it turns out to be this other way worse, unimaginable third possibility. And it's,
The cold open with the dove or the pigeon that gets stuck in the office.
oh my god,
They
it's
have this
so
whole-
fucked up.
They have this whole elaborate plan.
It's like weird Rube Goldberg machine with people like.
And it all starts with a fan, and then they turn the fan up. He's like, "Oh no! Oh god!" He flew straight into the fan. There's bird parts everywhere. It's so good.
And then the legendary one with the Backstreet Boys song, which
Yeah.
is just incredible. Honestly, Andy Samberg single-handedly sells most of their cold opens.
Yeah, he really does.
He's like, because he's so energetic. Like, he can just power, no matter what ridiculous, God knows, he must wake up every day like, I wonder what bullshit they're going to make me sell on this show. But he manages to do it.
Does he not have a writing credit?
He should.
I'd be surprised
Even if he's not
he
actually
doesn't.
doing any writing, him carrying off some of the. I mean, who else is going to be able to sell, like, and then the pigeon got sucked up into the fan? Like, who else on the cast is going to be able to go, what? No! And, like, that's just going to cut to the credits. Like, that's
Or
never...
when he gets hit by the car, and Terry's like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "No, Sarge, I got hit by a car."
It's so good.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're doing some action movies and some...
Weird. We're
Some
avoiding
sitcoms.
some.
It's almost like we are deliberately avoiding particular genres because our lives are filled with sadness.
It's like I don't think I think Logan will be cut out, but looks at the Logan poster and goes, "Nope,
Nope. Nope. Can't do it. Can't do it.
nope,
Not now.
nope."
Not for a while, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
4 other posters in here that are all fine. 2 of them are Logan, and that's not gonna happen.
Nope. So, we're interested in escapist cinema
Yeah.
right now.
You saw that, right?
Yeah, our lights keep flickering.
It's like I think it's got to do with the AC units. They're drawing power,
Yeah,
and then
to like turn on and stuff.
yeah.
Wow,
So it's like
is this our longest podcast?
I'm not sure,
I feel like it is.
but yeah. So just so I can tell you the other topic, because I don't think we're gonna talk about this one. Actually, no, that one's kind of industry. I was gonna say interesting, but my brain went industry.
It'd be like that.
Yeah, I don't know. So I'm gonna keep that one, but I don't care about the ASMR one anymore, as we talked about earlier. But yeah, so cool. This is the podcast episode. I think we're gonna thank the couple patrons, and then get on out of here.
All right.
So I'm gonna say thank you to both Patrick and Cert.
We love you.
Thanks for sticking around, believing in the podcast when others don't, calling you out.
Wow.
It's not real.
No, it's not.
With what's happening in the world, anybody who's stopping their subscription, I completely understand, because I mean, unless you're a nurse or you work at a grocery store, your employment is up in the air.
Yeah, from day to day it feels like. So I understand if you're being a little more financially
stingy or just responsible. Well, not responsible.
Maybe more thoughtful.
Yeah, I was gonna say financially
Prioritizing
responsible
particular
seems like
things
we're
over others, right?
not worth it, but
Yeah.
stingy I get. So I'm not actually calling you out. That was just
You got to make whatever decision is best.
that was a little jab, a little funny jib, little funny jab.
But
Please clap.
please clap.
But
But
yeah,
also, tell your friends.
yeah. I do appreciate anybody who was subbed to the Patreon before. I swear I wasn't being serious. But yeah, thank you to guys who are subbed, and thank you to anybody who's listening to podcast anywhere else on that iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, all that good stuff. We appreciate y'all, and I mean, probably gonna be a lot of movie stuff in the coming podcast, because there's nothing. Yeah. I mean, I could get on here and just talk about how I hate people, but I don't want to do that every podcast.
Nope.
Because I do that enough to you just regularly, because I get home from work and I'm like, these fucking bitches.
Yep.
And
that's not good content. We're all angry.
Well, it gets hits. Outrage content makes
true.
money.
But that's not really your brand, is it?
No. I've unsubscribed from so many people who just complain about shit.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, all right, I get it. I don't care.
And it's fine, and your anger is like valid or whatever, but
I don't have to.
I can't be like inundated with it.
Yeah, I don't have to consent to listening to it.
Like all the time. I don't have to invite that into my space
or
constantly.
at all.
Yeah.
So see ya.
And it's one thing to be like mad periodically about like things, and like another to just be mad in all directions at all times. I just that's an energy I can't sustain.
Yeah. And it's also okay to be mad, and that like you're like, oh, I get mad and then I make a video. Like that's fine.
That's fine.
But I don't need to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And I make the choice to not be a part of it. I'm not one of those weirdos who will suffer through and watch things I don't like.
Right.
I don't like this, but I'm here anyway. What? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't blame anyone who's also not listening to the podcast because they don't like it anymore. Because, you do you, bro.
Yeah, that's fair.
Or go. There's no... Bro, I wish...
You should just say friend.
Well, yeah, but I wanted a girl one. But there's no girl, bro.
No, probably just...
Gal.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel right, though.
Bros, gals, and non-binary pals.
What is that from? Somebody said that.
I feel like
a particular content
Thomas
creator does that.
Something.
Sanders?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He says guys, gals, and non-binary pals.
Oh, okay. But yeah. Is there anything else? I'm Nico. Nico Powerful on all the things.
I'm
Most
Allie.
things. Nico Powerful on Twitter, whatever. You'll I'm pretty sure I come up if you do all powerful.
Yeah. I'm Allie. You can find me at Allie Mac, on Twitter and Instagram if you like pictures.
It's the Germ.
Instagram. I have been making frozen alcoholic beverages since I'm sitting at home, and
from fruits
and alcohols. And my friends tell me that I'm funny, so you can find that on Instagram, and also Twitter, and also Byte.
Well, isn't that only going to be up there for the next 12 hours or something?
Yeah, I mean, I saved the videos,
Oh, okay.
so I could always like post them regularly.
You put them on IGTV.
It's true. I could get bougie with it.
I have no idea how that works.
Yeah, me neither.
But yeah, thanks for listening. Hopefully you guys want to hear us talk about more action and comedy things.
Because that's what's going to happen.
I mean, I haven't played any new video games, so like,
Yeah.
I'm replaying other stuff that I've played before.
Yeah.
There's only so much I can talk about that. You haven't played anything new. You're still Animal Crossing and Witcher in it.
Yeah.
So like, yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
We love you. Bye-bye.